Karl, you should have Adam drag his profile across your screen during your intro. Oh shit, I'm live. Welcome in everyone to another episode of the Thy&Smi podcast. I am Karl, aka Vitality. Currently, we are live streaming, simulcasting across 3 channels. Of course, the Thy&Smi podcast channel, as well as Bears Country Productions. And I've got a special certain guest. This certain guest needs no introduction, but after the poor work that I saw that didn't match his steak and potatoes, if you will, I had to give him an intro. So without further ado, everyone, welcome tonight's guest, Adam Mason.
Sports making Chicago proud.
Karl, you're great. I freaking love you, man.
Not as good as your chat. What is this? Let's go eating Arby's in a park. That's fantastic.
All right, Karl, where's your subscribe? Can you put your subscriber count up?
I don't know if I can do it like live. Maybe does Social Blade have a live?
I don't know. Right before the show, guys, Karl was at 485. Do you realize how important that 500 mark is? Karl's not going to say it, but I'm going to ask for Karl. If you're watching on my channel, look in the description. There's a link to Karl's. Stop watching on mine. Go to Karl's. Go watch this on Karl's, and then hit the little button. Hit that button. Karl's a good guy. Go hit it. Let's get him to 500 during this show. Let's do it.
I appreciate you, Adam, as well as I appreciate everyone in the chat who's here, whether they're subscribed or not. It's regardless to me. You know, I just really enjoy spending my time with Adam talking football. Obviously, we just had a show on Thursday, and he was nice enough to come back on Saturday, so it's just fantastic stuff. Let me say hello to the chat again. Jay Grizz, Ant Mess,
487,
Brian Gilmore, Victor Perez, Deharius Bear Gooch. That's an unbelievable name, by the way. Victor Perez. Wow, Victor Perez, you said hello in the channel, either my channel or Bears Country Productions, and then you're over on Bear Down Sports as well. Just fantastic. You guys are amazing. Channel hopping. JC1, some guy named Cliff Victoria, I don't know who that is. Trapakeepa, Brian Gilmore again. You guys are just fantastic. Vizojo, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. Live subscriber count, Adam, I figured it out. Take a look at this.
488.
Oh, you're just refreshing? You're just refreshing?
Yeah, I'm just refreshing.
Look at this, though. I'll have this in the corner of my eye, okay? If it's that serious to you, it's not that serious to me, but, I mean, we got the live count right here.
488. I like it.
Pretty cool.
488.
The link doesn't work for me, LOL. Bob, I'm not sure what you mean by the link, but if you just type Thy&Smi, I'm sure you'd be able to figure it out. If you go into the description of the Adam video as well, I'm sure there's a link as well. So,
Yep.
Again, not the end of the world either way. Again, I'd much rather just spend my time. I've told Adam countless times I'd talk to him offline if he wanted to. So, I appreciate your time nonetheless, Adam. So, as you could tell, why don't you tell people about that? Because
that's her across the screen.
Yeah, that's her old intro, man. Again, I saw it one time and it just irked me. I was floored. What's going on with those cards, dude? Like I was telling you backstage, I didn't know that you were into that. So, are you live streaming that tomorrow?
Yeah, I just received them. So I bought. Did you guys know about this whole card thing?
So I'm gonna go out on a limb. Is that the drop, the product that has that one of one?
Yeah, that's the drop. Let's see if I can add it here to the. Let's see. Let me see. Hold on.
Yeah, just present it and I'll add it to the screen.
Should have had this ready.
Brian Gilmore, you sure have, man. You were essentially part of the BCP family, so I can never thank you enough. Yeah, Adam's got it right here.
There you go. So that's a little thing I made for tomorrow. There's a bounty on the trading card that has Caleb Williams that signed his name and says Green Bay sucks. So that came out, and Topps actually said this actually is in circulation. And then Caleb reposted this. See the IE Caleb? I don't know who it was, but there's a collector that said if you draw that card, he'll pay you 25 grand. I guarantee you can auction that thing off for more than 25 grand. So
it's a one of one. You could say it's a bounty, man.
We're shooting for the kids' college education with that one.
That would be fucking fantastic, Adam.
Yeah.
So, do you remember a man by the name of Cassius Marsh?
Why is that familiar? Is that someone in the? Is that a fan or is that an actual player?
Oh no, quite the opposite, Adam. Do you remember Monday Night Football in Pittsburgh? Justin Fields, fantastic comeback, thwarted by a Bears player running into a referee
Yeah.
that threw that flag.
Yeah.
That player's name is Cassius Marsh. So clearly a football player, right?
Yeah.
Cassius Marsh is big into Magic the Gathering, and which is a trading card game. And Magic the Gathering did a crossover with Lord of the Rings, where of course there was a card called the One Ring. How could you not have that? But they didn't just print it and have oodles and oodles of copies. They did, but they also made a serialized one of one as well. And Cassius Marsh was another guy who put bounties on that card. 10,000, 20,000, I don't know what it was. So I just think it's so funny that little shiny pieces of cardboard can have that effect on people, but it sure is cool, man. I love it.
I'm not a diehard card collector. I have a whole bunch of them. You know, growing up, the ones I don't know where they are. My son pulled a rainbow rare Charizard card that was apparently worth like $1,000. So he did that a long time ago. But yeah, I like the trading cards, but I did this more for that one singular card of Caleb.
Yeah, I can't blame you. Earl Campbell autograph number 30 of 50 sounds really cool to me. I mean, I've got oodles of cardboard I play with all the time, so stuff is really, really cool. Relentless Mikey, you don't have to choose. Just whichever one you're on currently is totally fine. If that's my channel, Adam's channel, again, it's irrelevant to me. What matters is that you're spending your time with us, which is amazing. So, Adam.
Yes.
I want to bust you down a little bit on this running back topic. Before we get into that, obviously, I'm hopeful that a lot of the people watching this live show have watched our content on the Thursdays, our 11-part series, and we've talked about everything in Chicago Bears that have come across the plate as it's been happening, right? But I want to know your thoughts, cliff notes, if you will, on just the first wave of free agency for the Chicago Bears.
Okay, let me hit this real quick in the chat, though.
What's that?
Guys, we can see both, so it doesn't matter what channel you're in. We can see both of your comments. So whatever channel you're on, or all three channels, we can see all of them. So don't worry, we can see all comments on all channels. So you're good.
Oh yeah, totally understood. Now I will say, if I'm about to start a questionnaire, a live poll, maybe Adam can do that for his channel if he wants to replicate it. But I'm going to be running the polls from the Thy&Smi channel. So if you guys are watching on Bears Country Productions, again, totally fine, but just keep in mind that you won't see the polls. So if you want to participate in those polls, keep that in mind. Cliff asks, by the way, Adam, if you want to answer his question, what do you think my sign behind me means?
Ghost energy drink. Sorry.
Ghost
Ghost energy drinks. It made me laugh because Karl, part of the agreement of Karl coming on my channel for 11 straight weeks is he just wants some Ghost energy drink. That's it. He just wants some Ghost.
I don't want the cans. I want the clout. I want the sponsorship. I want them to give me the product for free. I've been buying their product for a hot minute. Let's get a below the belt handshake, if you will. No, just kidding. But for real, Adam, give me your cliff notes on the Bears' first wave of free agency. It's been about a week, right? What have you thought of the moves?
Cliff Victoria notes. What are my Cliff Victoria notes? All right.
That's a slogan and a half, by the way.
Didn't I see somewhere today that we had the highest grade in free agency? For someone ranked us that way. We had the highest grade in free agency. I love what we did primarily because we inked five guys that are near top tier guys. Maybe not all of them are top tier guys. Obviously, Drew Dahlman was the number one guy in his category as center. He was the number one center. Dio Odengbo was maybe not your tier one guy, but he's right up there near the top. And then Grady Jarrett, maybe too many people think he's gotten too old, and then you watch his press conference and you're like, dude, this guy's still got the fire and vinegar. He's gonna be lighting some people up.
Can I make a comment on Grady Jarrett real quick, or a comparison that I saw? As far as the play on the field, I don't know if it'll match it exactly, but as far as the presence and the leadership and just the quality of human, he's really comparable to Akeem Hicks.
I want him to teach other people how to play. I want him to help them. What was the quote? The darkness. He goes to a dark place. Like he was talking about his the clip they were talking about was where he was telling Jordan Love that he's a little female dog, and
I'll find the clip for us.
And He said, you know what? Sometimes you have to go to that dark place and you have to transform and go to that dark place to become a dog. And he didn't say a dog, but I want him to teach Tyler Scott that. I want him to teach Zach Pickens that. I want him to teach some of these guys who are fringe players that I'm ready to give up on. I want him to teach that to them and teach them how to go to that dark place so that they can transform their game and become like a Grady Jarrett. I'm trying to see your subscriber count. We're up to 492, Carl. 495. It jumped to 490. We're 5 away. I want the countdown. If you haven't subscribed to Carl, he's not going to pitch it. You don't do that on your own channel. You don't pitch it. He's being humble. Guys, we're 5 away from getting Carl to 500. And you know what 500 means? It gets you really close to being monetized is what it does. Get you real close for Carl getting paid.
Well, technically it's halfway. I'll be blunt. I mean, 500 would allow me to open up memberships. Now, that said, let's see if I can get the channel demonetized very, very quickly. Let's give it a modest 7 seconds here.
Go. You better pipe down, little. I gotta get to him.
They're muting
It's
it.
fantastic stuff.
You can't teach that type of stuff, and when you've got that built into the rivalry already, and there's some anger and animosity between the Packers, that signing alone makes this an A+ grade for the Bears. We hit it out of the ballpark.
Now, are you worried about Grady Jarrett's health at all, as far as his knee coming off that ACL? Would you be worried about that, or are you worried at all?
He's played after the ACL, hasn't he? When was the ACL? Remind me.
I believe it was the 2023 season that he missed. It was early in the season. He missed the entire season and played all last year.
Yeah, he's fully back. If he wasn't fully back and he hadn't played a full season of health and he didn't show that he was good, I would be worried, but I'm not worried. This is full on healthy player back, dog in him. I'm good. No injury concern for me. Once a player's gotten past it, injuries happen. Once a player's gotten past the injury, it's dead in the water to me.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, I believe he was cut from the Falcons just, right at the deadline to save cap space, right? They needed to get into the positive. Some speculated, they're going to try and retain Drew
Nobody's
Dahlman.
talking about this. It's so they can retain freaking, Kirk Cousins. So they can retain Kirk Cousins. They could have cut
He's getting
Kirk
that money, I
Cousins.
think, tomorrow, or got it today, yeah.
They could have cut Kirk Cousins and kept Grady Jarrett. I mean, pick your poison there. It's I don't know, man. I don't know the depth of the Atlanta defensive line. I don't know if they've got young guys in the wings waiting. I don't know that much to be that deep on it, but it doesn't seem like a smart move to me.
Wow, Adam, I'm very tickled right now. I mean,
we do
Social
it?
Blade's saying I'm at 497.
Oh, we're 3 away, guys. That wasn't the point of this. Carl didn't know I was going to say that, but guys, you're doing a big favor if you just go over and subscribe to Carl. If you don't like Carl later, unsubscribe, but it doesn't cost anything. Go over there, click the subscribe button, get him to 500. Let's do that. Let's push him to 500. If you get him to 500, I'll eat a banana on screen.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure that it's full camera as well. Like, that's gonna be incredible.
Carl and I were talking about that, how I needed a snack, and I was like, you don't eat bananas on screen, though. I'm going to have to come over here. Nom, nom, nom.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. If you bend over to eat the banana, that's gonna look a lot worse.
Shut up.
That's amazing. So, according to the poll, we've got 10 votes, which is great. I gave the options A, B+, B-, and C. Looks about 7 votes for A. Oh, it just switched. Probably 7 votes for A. Yeah, did you just vote B+?
I just voted. Yep.
I was going to ask what your grade is. But
No,
it
I
sounds
voted
like
A.
it's B+.
I voted A, so somebody else voted B+ at the same time, I guess.
Interesting. Yeah, it says 12 votes. Wow. Okay. A+, or just an A. I didn't specify A+. Maybe to get it to an A+, is there something left that you think that the Bears can do? And if you want to bless us with your salary cap knowledge, I know that people would love to hear that.
Here's the thing. We do the salary cap update, and everyone says, do we have any space left? And the reality is, no, we don't. But we also don't know where the Jonah Jackson extension comes in. So if they extend him and then they reduce this year's salary cap down to, I don't know, say like some of the other ones that have been done, so 4 or 5 million this year, they can push things around just a little bit. We're not going to be able to hit a $15 million a year guy, but we could squeeze in an $8 million a year guy if we restructure Jonah Jackson's properly. So yeah, possibly.
Are those comments based on how the cap situation is exactly right now for the Chicago Bears? Because I'm pretty sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. But we don't know where Jonah Jackson sits. We don't know where that one is.
I can find some info on that. I saw that tweet. I showed it on the Thursday show for Bears Country Productions.
Well, they
But
say it's going to be 11/8/33 according to Over the Cap, but Over the Cap hasn't updated that we extended him another year, so we really don't know.
Interesting.
We don't know.
Okay, yeah, if that hasn't been reflected on those sites, then I'll trust you. I was going to say, though, I know that people are talking about how a mere restructure of DJ Moore and a restructure of Montez Sweat could actually allocate about $45 million. Is that something, A, that you'd want to do?
No.
And B, if we did it, who would be someone that you'd want to add to this roster?
Okay, so first and foremost, we are in win now mode. And I saw a couple people on Twitter doing this, and it's the same thing I said on my channel. You're not going to get 40-45. It's going to be closer to 25-30 if you restructure those two. You can go. Have you seen PFNs where you can just click the restructure thing? Have you seen that on PFN?
No.
Yeah, they've got a little restructure analyzer thing. In fact, let's go here. Share a screen. Where's PFN? Screw PFN. Can't find it. Probably because I have too many tabs open.
Perhaps. It's Pro Football Network?
Yeah. See if you can do it on your side. Just go to pfn.com.
Interesting.
Was that an advertisement? So first, we're in win now mode. So we've been in rebuild mode, and we just took a quarterback last year, and that's kind of the beginning of depending on where you take the quarterback. We've done it so improperly several times with the Bears that we've rebuilt by taking the quarterback first and then trying to build around him. Now we've kind of switched that up, and we got all these draft picks, and then we took Caleb and Rome together, and now in the second year we're rebuilding this offensive line completely. I don't think we're done with rebuild because some of these contracts are short. Jonah Jackson's going to be 3 years. Joe Tooney's technically 1 year. Braxton Jones is 1 year. There's still key positions that have to be addressed. But it's not like we couldn't win now with this starting lineup. We've still got to address that depth, though. So do I want to do that? Not yet. Not till we make the playoffs. So I think we're in win now mode. The goal should be win the division, make the playoffs. It's not, we're going to win a Super Bowl today. So offseason manager. Yep, you've nailed it.
Is this it?
Mm-hmm. So hit the Bears, hit the next. And this is just rough. This is not completely accurate either, guys. But if you want to see, don't even touch that. Just look at the restructure savings on the next, on two, right there. You can kind of see how much we could restructure on each of those players if you wanted to. And it's just a rough estimate, and they don't always, restructure.
So it's actually not even $30 million.
Yeah, 29 million. I mean, $28,936,000. But they're not going to.
Quick maths.
You're not going to. That's the whole accounting thing. Adam Stetson. You're not gonna do that unless you're in the Super Bowl window. I think we're in win now window, but we're not in Super Bowl window where you have to start putting these crazy things back. But it is really interesting that they did it with Grady Jarrett's contract, that they extended him past, so they backloaded his contract to where it's past the 3 years we signed him. We're paying him in year 4 and 5 when he's not with us anymore.
That's a really good point. So I saw the opposite. I did see that. I think what we're seeing is a discrepancy between Spotrac and Over the Cap. So do you prefer which one? Do you know exactly what is the truth? Because I'm a little bit ignorant towards this.
Over the Cap is usually more accurate at getting information quicker, but less accurate information. Spotrac is usually better at getting the overall right contract information. It takes a little longer to get it, though.
Okay. So what you're saying is that you're pretty confident that there are 2 void years assigned to Grady Jarrett.
Yeah, I would trust Spotrac on that one. Karl.
Okay.
What's your subscriber
count?
Did
we do it? Did we do it, everyone? You guys are fantastic. You guys are
close.
Fantastic.
498. 498.
Interesting, yeah. It's still live. Yeah.
We're
still
2 away.
498, and that's fine. Because that's like 10 more than we started the show with. So you guys are fantastic. Thank
Karl
you
doesn't want to focus on it. I'm focused on it. Sorry, Karl. Your show. Take over.
Hey, hold on. As I said that, okay? What we call this in modern terms, the cool kids, Adam, this is called moaning it in. So as you can see.
Moaning it in? I have an 18-year-old. I have not heard of moaning it in. Maybe I'm glad I haven't heard my 18-year-old say moaning it in.
Essentially, all you have to do is complain. When you complain, you win. So
look,
You guys are beautiful. You guys are fantastic. Again, I could give a rat's you know what about the number on the screen. What I care about are all these comments coming in the chat. You guys are just fantastic. Again, sharing your time with me, with us, it's just fantastic. Thank you guys so
Good job,
very
guys.
much.
Now I'll let it go. But good job.
And then they unsubbed.
Someone unsubbed.
Incredible. Incredible. Yeah, let's go, Karl. We're very close. Again, we're back to being very, very close. But that's fantastic. Again.
Oh, who unsubbed? You better take it down. Or
That's awesome.
it's
Thank
the
you
reverse
guys.
effect. It's the humor effect. People are gonna love it.
Oh, there's guys that are like the big kids on YouTube, right? Like I think I saw I Show Speed have this situation where he was trying to hit 10 million and he got to 10 million and then it plummeted down to almost like 9 million. So people will do that. It is funny, but again, you guys are spending your time with us and I could not appreciate that anymore. Okay, back on track. So you're talking about a win now mode, but not a Super Bowl win now mode, correct? I want to know what your exact definition of maybe win now mode is, as far as what you think the Bears are in.
Win now. They've gone and made contracts. They've made moves to win now. Like you're signing big contract. We're really hitting on those contracts with big obligations, but we haven't made the playoffs in how many years? Since 2018. I mean, 7 years now, going on 8 years. So we're not in Super Bowl. We every offseason we win the offseason and then we make our predictions and everyone wants us to win the Super Bowl, before we've made the playoffs in 8 years. I think we're in win now mode where we have the right quarterback. We figured that out last year. I think Ryan Poles wouldn't be making these moves he's making, backloading a couple contracts into void years. If we didn't have a quarterback, we were really comfortable saying we see enough out of this guy that we're comfortable building around him. And now we go make the playoffs. And if we do that, we can then start going into Saints and Chiefs territory where you backload a lot of these contracts and you really get the right people in here, or you continue to build through the draft, which is what I think we should keep doing, but we don't ever do it. And now we have zero depth on the offensive line from building through the draft. We have Karan Amagaji, and that's it. All right, I'm done.
Right. I mean, again, I'm pretty much in lockstep with you. I agree. I don't think that guys like Joe Tooney and Grady Jarrett are going to be here for a long time. There is an argument to be had about Joe Tooney, and I can bring that up if you'd want. But those guys are here for a good time, not a long time, in my opinion. And kind of using the draft to turn the trenches from a weakness last year into a strength of this football team now and moving forward is a really smart idea, in my opinion. We're going to get into, what are we going to do with the almost at the left tackle position? What are we going to do with the 10th overall selection? We'll get into that a little bit later. But my opinion on the matter is that Ben Johnson is telling everyone out in the open, very blunt, that he really believes in needing a quality offensive line. That's why we've made these moves. We have the second highest paid center in the NFL. We got an all-pro left guard, and then we have a right guard who has Pro Bowl talent, however you want to, slice and dice that. I genuinely would not be surprised if the Bears went left tackle at 10 so that the Bears have their left tackle for 2026 and beyond. It's just, I don't know if that caliber of player exists. And the one player who is really intriguing in that spot has a really big concern with his knee as far as the health of that. While we're talking offensive linemen, though, I would love to know your thoughts on Tevin Jenkins, because I'll publicly admit in front of all 110 people in the chat across the 3 channels right now that I thought that Tevin Jenkins would be a guy getting a similar contract to Will Fries. Will Fries is getting what? Isn't he on $18 million a year from the Minnesota Vikings?
Overpaid,
Yeah,
17 and a half.
absolutely, definitely. But what we saw last night, or I think it was last night, or maybe this morning, Mekhi Becton is signing with the Chargers, and his average annual value is $10 million a year. So essentially half. And I would say that if Mekhi Becton is getting signed before Tevin Jenkins, I think people think in the NFL circles that Mekhi Becton's a better player than Tevin Jenkins. What are your thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
I think Tevin missed his window. He should have been hitting with his agent right off the bat, saying, I need to be one of the first ones to sign. And those guys Aaron Banks as well, to the Packers. Thank you, Packers, for overpaying for an overhyped guard who doesn't deserve $18 million a year. Some of these guys that go first off the board in free agency, they tend to get the higher contracts, and then it kind of levels down because supply, demand. Let's go into an economics discussion here. But you got a supply and demand issue, and now Tevin Jenkins is going to be sitting there probably trying to find a 1-year contract to prove that his health is okay, to prove that he's a quality player that can handle any system and can be a good scheme fit for someone in blocking, and that he can do a good job still, because now he's going to be questioned. He's going to be down in Mekhi Becton world at, you know, $7 million for a 1-year contract just to prove himself. So
yeah, Chad, help me out. I know that Tevin Jenkins was linked to the Bengals, and now he's directly linked to the Seahawks. I think he's actually visiting the Seahawks on Monday. Wasn't there a third team that he was linked to?
I didn't catch all. I just know Seattle was the one that was getting a lot of buzz. That was announced by the Seahawks and insiders.
He was linked to the Bengals. Yeah.
Yeah, and linked to the Seattle was the big one where he's going to visit the Bengals, and they're going to work him out and talk to him. And Giants
Victor Perez. Yeah, Victor Perez got it. That's correct. That jogged my memory. Thank you, Victor. But out of those 3 teams, or if there's another team, because my gut was telling me that Tevin Jenkins was going to go help out those Houston Texans. It's a little bit close to home for him. And once the Texans got rid of their left tackle, and I've been doing that reshuffling, it feels like Tevin Jenkins would be a nice fit there. Is there a team that you would suspect that he goes with? Are you just, going to default to the Seahawks?
I think he's going to take wherever he can get the right job. So
you think it's that bad?
I think we're getting to the part of free agency where people are going to wait for the draft. So just like with the Bears, you're not going to see any more big signings. But Velus Jones went to the Saints. Now that's actually a good fit for Velus Jones if he can hold on to the ball.
Yeah, he might fumble that opportunity, if you will, Adam.
Yeah, let's see if he can. Hey, man, it's important to give guys shots. So I'm good with him getting another shot. Just to probably get the Sound Bears. So. No, where Tevin goes at this point, teams might be looking now to the draft and saying, "Hey, look, we filled most of our free agency, we filled most of our roster. Let's look at the draft, and maybe we'll wait to sign one of these guys after the draft." And if you're having to wait till after the draft, then you've got draft picks in front of you too. He might be in a tough spot. If you don't go first in free agency, you're sitting in a tough situation.
Right, because essentially if you sign earlier, you might get more money, and that forces them into starting them, right? That's what they want. And you can offset that as a team with having outs in the contract, whatever the case is, right? But flip side of the coin, do you think that Tevin Jenkins is being picky as far as choosing the exact perfect spot? Because I heard a theory thrown out there that Tevin Jenkins really wants to move back to right tackle because that's where the money is. I'm going to get a tweet pulled up from Brett Kallman who broke this down, but the average annual value, just the overall price of right tackles in the NFL has skyrocketed. So do you think that Tevin could be picky, and do you think that Tevin even has a shot to play right tackle in the NFL?
Well, you're using keywords of could. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't have. Man, I would hope Tevin wouldn't do that. Wouldn't pigeonhole himself into that. That could be a reason why he's not signed right now. Is he's trying to force his hand at playing a position that he hasn't been playing. To me, if you can find a starting job in the NFL at left guard or right guard, he should take it and then try to build his value there. And if something happens and he has versatility to be kicked out to right tackle, great. But he's playing gambling if he's doing that. If he's trying to force the market.
I agree, it'd be a total gamble. But again, courtesy of Brett Kallman here from Twitter, in 2015, top of the right tackle market was making about 5%. And over the last 10 years, that has doubled. Wow. And if you look at your roster composition as a whole, 54% of your cap on average is allocated to your quarterback, wide receiver, and your 2 tackles. So that's insane to me.
Yeah, I wonder if that has to do with the resurgence of the run game coming back. What
do you mean, as far as those tackles?
Yeah.
Well, Brett goes on to have a really good point here. It's right here. He says,
"Look at your highest paid offensive lineman. They can do both. They're good at pass pro. Penei Sewell, great example. All these top centers are getting paid the highest because they're freaking graded off the chart at everything." Anyways, go ahead.
Just wanted to say, I mean, Brett nailed it here. He says that kind of your best pass rusher, guys like Von Miller, the Watt brothers, Max Crosby, Cam Jordan, they're lining up over the right tackle now, not the left. So this was a masterful set of tweets. I love Brett. I'll get off that high horse, but essentially what he said was, quarterbacks are no longer doing the 5 to 7 step drops, having their back face to the left tackle for however long that is. It's coming out of the shotgun and the ball's trying to get thrown out faster, right? So at the same breath, the Bears drafting Darnell Wright at 10th, that was just a fantastic pick because you got a really quality right tackle to not have to deal with the situation. You could obviously try and piecemeal it with some UDFAs like Jake Curhan, like what we saw a little bits and pieces of, but you know how that's going to end, which is terribly.
Do you remember where Darnell Wright, do you remember where he was slotted to get drafted in that draft, where people said, where mock drafts and where your analysts said he should go? Do you remember that?
I don't necessarily remember, if you'd like to refresh me.
It was right around 17 to 25.
So again, couple that with the Jalen Carter miss. We're talking about an overdrafted right tackle from the public eye originally.
And now he's the 4th best right tackle in the entire league. So just because my point of that is just because someone's sitting there on your big board, on your draft board, saying they're going to be somewhere between 18 and 25 doesn't mean the Bears see it that way. Ryan Poles is not afraid to pull that trigger. He wanted Darnell Wright, and thank goodness he did. Darnell Wright, obviously a hit. And if you don't think Ryan Poles is right, just listen to what Ben Johnson said. Ben Johnson compared him to Penei Sewell over at Detroit. He said he reminds him exactly of the same way, and he's going to use him the same way and build this team around him. So.
And if you get a quarterback who's able to play in structure better and get that football thrown out on time to a spot, potentially, God forbid, a wide receiver who's schemed open. Now we're talking about a right tackle who has to block for less longer amount of time, looks better. Sky's the limit for that guy. My fear, I guess, is just having to pay all these guys, right? So we already restructured Jonah Jackson. Sounds like he's essentially on the hook for 3 more years, right? I think that contract goes to 2027. We gave Dahlman was a 3-year or 4-year? It was 3-year, wasn't it?
I think they're all 3-year contracts, aren't they?
Joe Tooney's actually on an expiring deal. So
well, yeah, but all the free
retain
agents we signed, Dio and Dangbo is 3 years.
And you mentioned void years. Yes, with the void years. But Dio, I'm pretty certain that he is able to actually escape. The Bears, that is, are able to escape the Odangbo contract if they so wish after this first year. There's a really good out.
1 or 2 years, and then the Bears have outs on almost every contract they do. That's what Ryan Poles has done. He's restructuring this thing to give us outs, just like Tremaine Edmonds. He has this year and next year, but after this year, he can be out on that one as well.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. But I guess my fear would be you can't pay 4 linemen that much money. If you have to pay Darnell Wright, you're essentially going to have to let one of those 3 interior guys go.
Karl? Was that loud? Was that really loud? Sorry, guys.
Not at all. Not at all.
Karl, aren't you the one that keeps telling me the salary cap is a myth?
It is. So again, we're talking about restructuring and kicking down the can, but the fact of the matter is you could turn into the Saints really fast, and I don't want that.
As long as we're hitting a Super Bowl window, I don't... They've got, I mean, look at this mentality that the Saints and Chiefs are playing with. It's let's kick this can so far down the road that we think the world's going to end before we have to catch up with these contracts. Like, I'm totally good with it. If we start getting in the Super Bowl window and we sign Caleb to a 10-year billion-dollar contract, like who knows where the quarterback pay is going to be in a couple years. But if we sign Caleb to that and we make a Super Bowl and we win a Super Bowl, I don't give a flying rat's bahootie if we start doing what the Saints and the Chiefs are doing and we extend this thing to act like we're never going to have to end it because the world's going to end before we catch up to these contracts. I'm good with it. Let's do that, but let's win first and then let's do it and let's own the North and never give it back.
Yeah, I agree. I can't remember exactly what the context was, but essentially it was that. It may have been related to drafting a running back in the first round. I cannot remember what I said exactly, but essentially, let's start by having a head coach and a quarterback pairing who have won a playoff game. If that happens this year, then let's get hyphy. Let's really do some stuff, get this thing going. And I agree with you. I think it would be such a blessing to have to pay Caleb Williams $80 million a year, because that would mean that he's good enough and he would be putting our team in the playoffs each and every single year. Even if we don't win the Super Bowl, it's understandable. It would be a big upgrade to what we're used to as Bears fans, in my opinion. If you want to say anything else regarding the free agency wave that the Bears have gone through up to this point, please let me know, Adam. Otherwise, I think I'm ready to end the poll. So 21 votes. It looks like 62% of you guys are saying that the Bears, as far as a rating for the first wave of free agency, was an A. Everyone else essentially voted B plus or B minus, not even a C vote in there. So thank you guys for that. I agree. I think the Bears up to this point have done just a fantastic job.
You say first wave, but I mean, there's really not that many needs left on the team left. We have like 9 slots to fill, and after the draft, like 20 low-level spots for just making the 90-man roster. I mean, we're almost there, man. We're almost
Now,
get through the draft, and we're there.
I love, Adam, that you use the word need, because that's what I want to talk to you about and the theme of today's show. Because, again, I'm very positive and I feel strongly about the fact that there is a glaring need on the Chicago Bears roster, and that's running back number 1. That's a starting running back.
You think that's the primary need we have left?
Well, my thought process behind it
I
is
agree
that,
it's a need. We do need it. I get that. I agree.
Now,
I don't.
let's just put full stop to this right now. I don't want the Bears to draft a running back at 10th overall. So when we're talking about need in that sense, maybe that's not where I'm going. But to go off of that, I do think it is the biggest need. And my thought process is that you have the second highest paid center in the NFL. And that center is fantastic at zone blocking, and you need to maximize that to maximize the value on the contract. If you just want to have a bad running back with a quarterback who throws the ball 60 times, Drew Dahlman could potentially be a liability. I mean, his pass blocking, according to PFF, whatever you want to say, film that I've seen, people are negative on. So that's kind of the process there. And again, I talked to you about this on Thursday. A good running game in Detroit elevated Jared Goff into the conversations of most valuable player. I think that a good running game is a quarterback's best friend, and the Bears need a starting running back. I don't know if they can come away with kind of a compliment or, just another running back to add to the room to help take a little bit of pressure off DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift has to play as a running back 2, and the Bears need to acquire a running back 1. What are your thoughts on that?
Now you're just trying to bait me. Screw it. Sweetness, Walter Payton, 1975, I believe his 4th overall pick in the first round. He was so good that later on, when Mike Ditka was with the Saints, he said, screw it, I'm trading all 7 of my draft picks this year. I'm trading my 1st and my 3rd next year to go up and get Ricky Williams. Screw it. Let's do it. Let's take all this. Let's make the running back the only important thing. Let's get Ashton Genty. Let's trade up and get him number 1 overall. Let's trade every one of our picks.
No, that'd be reserved for Mason Graham. If you want to have a legitimate, serious conversation about trading up to 1st overall for Mason Graham, let's have it. But as far as a running back, now you're just talking silly.
I agree with you completely. I also think 2 things. DeAndre Swift is not a bad change of pace back. In fact, he should shoulder.
He's a good change of pace back, but he's not a change of pace back for the Bears. He's their leading running back, and that's a mistake in my opinion.
I agree. We got to upgrade the position. I agree with you 100%. I do not like. Man, I feel like this is rage bait. I feel like this is the constant controversy right now. I do not agree with taking any running back number 10 overall. I'm okay with later in the first round. The value of that pick, the value of the financial value, the trade value, everything value.
I was about to say
10.
the financials, because you explained this to me very, very well. There's a huge drop-off essentially from the 10th to 11th pick, I'm pretty sure. That's why GMs have that lingo of a top 10 pick, because that's what matters financially.
Not huge from 10th to 11th, but 10th to 20, there's a significant change. 1 to 10, there's a huge change.
Yeah.
But I'm not good with any running back there, and the history of it is not good. I mean, you go back to 1975 when the game was different, and Walter Payton was worth it. But Leonard Fournette just a couple years ago, 4th overall, very different results. And I know you can say, well, there's some that hit. You're taking a gamble. You're basically coming to Vegas with me. If you're taking a running back in the first round, you're gambling because it's financially very expensive to take a running back.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Fly on out here, buddy. We'll have a good time. You're rolling the dice. You're putting it on red because if he doesn't work out, you just blew a 10th overall pick. Imagine if the Lions didn't hit with Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, there's 2 sides to it. People say, well, look what the Lions did with Jahmyr Gibbs. We don't know. He's going into year 3. He could have an injury tomorrow. Injuries happen all the time with running backs. In fact, you've seen some great running backs. Rashad Penny went very high as well. I think he was averaging like 5-6 yards a carry in the NFL, which is fantastic.
Be honest with me. Be honest with me on
Career
Rashad
over,
Penny.
wasted
Wasn't
pick.
there an injury associated with that human being, though?
Rashad Penny, that was his entire career was injuries. That's what I'm saying. You're taking a big gamble with running
So he
back.
wasn't a total failure as far as the quality of player. It was just he didn't work out because of injuries.
No, 100%. I think his
So they got
his
unlucky.
rookie year, he averaged like 6 yards per carry. It was godlike. Like, it was phenomenal. Rashad Penny was doing amazing. But he lasted, what, 3 or 4 years in the league because he got injured. And then after you get that initial injury as a running back, he got injured again and then injured again. I don't know about that. I don't know. Too early. I know you don't like Tyler Warren, huh?
The best comparison for Brock Bowers in the NFL, the 2025 NFL draft, is Colson Loveland. But we're not talking tight ends. I'm sorry.
We could. So I just don't
want to talk about running backs.
I don't like the risk of a running back that high. Too many variables. If you want to maximize that value and you think there's a core 5 guys and you're worried that those will be gone by 39, trade from 10 all the way down to 22. The Chargers need their tight end if Tyler Warren's there and they love him. Let the Chargers come up, give us a future draft pick, give us their first, second, and third this year, and then boom. So
yeah, I mean, talk about quarterback desperation. I would hope that there's running back desperation if that's what you're saying, because if we can trade down out of 10, that's my ideal scenario, in my opinion. Outside of the obvious, and the obvious for those who don't know. I'm a Michigan fan. If the Bears, I told this to Adam in Twitter DMs, if the Bears can get their grubby hands on Mason Graham, I will emotionally combust. I will be so beyond happy. I will go into a coma, Adam.
have you been seeing today all the talk on that? Like, it is getting out of control because
you kind of said that to me impromptu. Please enlighten me.
everyone's starting to mock him out of the top 10. Like, everyone, all these analysts are saying because he's 296 pounds, because he went below that 300-pound threshold. This is a magic number. You look at these big boys.
And that's not his playing weight. This is just hearsay. If you want, while you explain this to us, get that ruler out, because as you know, Adam, all good football players are found with a scale and a measuring tape. If you didn't know that,
but they measured him twice, and at the combine he weighed 296, and so this is now a concern. This is a big concern. In fact, on my Twitter, my pinned thing right now is how Walter Nolan and Mason Graham are identical in every single way. Stats, on tape, measurements. Now that
I'm sorry, you said Walter Nolan
and Mason Graham.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, two of them had to, and obviously Walter Nolan has the character concern, so that's going to knock him down a little bit farther. I think he's a top 10 talent as well. But you look at those guys, and then they start putting him down a notch because he's not he was 320 pounds, right? That's what Mason Graham was. And who knows what his playing weight is? No, who knows if he's 330 pounds in the season and then he loses some water weight or he gets into, playing shape or whatever. But all of a sudden, because he's below 300, this is going to make people drop him out of the top 10. Yeah, that's the one scenario where I'm good not trading down. You feel that. And you look at slide 6, hit slide 6 down there below, Karl. This to me is the biggest. You talk about running back, I agree, but this is the biggest need because a lot of people don't realize still that the position that rotates the most during a game is this starting 8 on the defensive line. And I'm not good with Zach Pickens or Jonathan Ford or Daniel Hardy or Dominic Robinson or Chris Williams rotating as the final 2 pieces there. I'm glad we picked up Dio Odengbo. I'm glad we picked up Grady Jarrett. I love Andrew Billings rotating in, but we got to pick up 2 more. And this is a stacked class. And if you have Mason Graham there rotating in and then replacing Andrew Billings next year and rotating with Gervon Dexter and Grady Jarrett, and we'll see if Gervon Dexter works out, but if he doesn't, then you have Mason Graham and Grady Jarrett, and then you can still draft another one in the next couple of years. To me, that's the biggest need in the rest of this draft is, and people say, well, we need a, yeah, Aaron, great comment.
Yeah, don't take my thunder on this, Adam. I have documented proof that I have directly compared Mason Graham to Aaron Donald. Simply for the fact that history repeats itself, guys. We're talking about an undersized, shorter defensive tackle with short arms. Keith, you fucking nailed it, man. Like, I would be not sad. I would be sad. I'd kind of be shocked if Mason Graham wasn't a Hall of Famer just because of what I have seen from him at his time at Michigan. Things change in the NFL. He may just be happy getting paid, and I have no idea what his character is like. That's possible. But, again, I would trade up for Mason Graham if I had the opportunity to do it. I fully agree.
I'm not in trade up mode. I'm not there yet with you, but I think our value in this draft is you'd have to give away a second rounder, and I think we have too much value in those second rounders.
Well, I'm not too like off the chrome dome, as I say. I'm not too keen on the trade chart. Jimmy Johnson's. I can't. Is it Rich Hill?
Rich
I
Hill's
don't know.
more.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know the numbers. But what do you think it would take to move up from 10 to 8 or 7?
Here's the thing: you're not going to be able to trade up to 9, 8, or 7 because they all need the exact same thing we do. They all want defensive line. They all want edge. They all want defensive tackle. You're talking
But
Saints. Who was it?
hold on.
Carolina and
What are the Jets? The Jets are
Jets.
7, right?
7. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to moan this in, as I told you earlier, right? Which 2 head coaches in the NFL were on the same coaching staff last year? Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn on Detroit.
Oh, okay.
They've got each other's phone numbers. What if Ben Johnson goes, "Hey, how's it going, Aaron Glenn?" And Aaron Glenn goes, "Good. What do you want to trade up for?" He says Mason Graham. Aaron Glenn will be honest to say, "Well, I don't have him on my draft board. He's got short arms. Let's trade back." Would you be surprised at that?
Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are not the GMs of their teams.
Right, but it starts there, right? They're integrated into that personnel. Now the Jets, maybe it's a bad comparison because the Jets use Madden ratings to determine who they attack in free agency, right? Like they're a total scuffed up franchise. But again, that would be a team that could make that big mistake. Oh, he doesn't have 33-inch arms. Oh, he's not 300 pounds. He's not even on our draft board. So you got to make the phone call.
Yeah,
Right?
it's too expensive to jump from 10 to 7, in my opinion. I don't want to do that.
What does the Rich Hill say? What would it cost?
I'd have to look it up, but it's going to be like a second rounder to jump from 10 to 7. That's expensive, dude.
Really? So
Yeah.
pick 41, pick 39
Your top 10
even?
picks are the most expensive ones. Let's see if I can find it here.
400 point. Okay, Cliff. Let's
that's-
continue to hash this out. What is the value of pick 39 and pick 41?
So he's talking about the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart. So from 10 to 5 is 400 points, 1,300 to 1,700, and that is
Oh
worth
my God.
a late first rounder, early second rounder.
Scottish Bear, do not speak that into existence. If Mason Graham doesn't go in the first round,
Are you talking Walter Nolan or Mason Graham? Because Walter
Yeah.
Nolan could fall to that range. Mason Graham won't
Now,
fall
we
past-
haven't gotten to there yet, but I'm hearing that the issue with Walter Nolan is completely off the field. As far
Actually,
as him having character concerns or something worse.
From 10 to 7 on Rich Hill, they're saying that's roughly a late second, early third rounder.
Okay, perfect. Would you trade
not
10 and the third for Mason Graham?
Well, then you're not going to get it for the third. That's not an early third. You're going to have to sweeten it
I'm
with.
answer
say-
the question.
They won't do it. So 10 and a third and next year's third.
But would
you do
Adam
that
Mason
for-
do it? Next year's third, 10 and in 2026 third for Mason Graham?
10 and a
I'd-
third, 10 and 72 and next year's third is what that's going to take.
Ooh, next year's third too. What are you talking about?
That's what it's going to take. Sorry.
You're
You're
don't
talking
believe
top
that.
10 pick, trading up for top 10 pick. It's going to take something. I'm not
Okay.
in trade up mode. I'm not in trade up
I
mode.
would do it.
especially-
I would do it. Okay, again, we're talking about acquiring Mason Graham. I would trade 10th overall. I would trade 2025 third round, and I would trade 2026. We don't have a fourth round in 2026, do we?
Not anymore.
Yeah, we gave that up, so we can't do that anymore.
We did that for.
That's what I was about to say, but maybe the Chiefs give us the pick back for free. I'm just kidding. I don't know, man. Mason Graham feels as surefire, can't miss as anything. And I
If we
agree
would have
with
lost
you.
to the Packers, we'd be picking 7th.
Well, unfortunately, I was with that live stream with you the entire time. I wouldn't trade that for anything, man.
I'm glad we beat the Packers.
Yeah, me too. Let me go back to this. So again, while I understand the argument and the value, and I would take Mason Graham ahead of anyone else in the 2025 NFL draft, we're talking about adding a secondary player, a backup.
No, it's not. That's the thing
I
I'm
think
trying
that
to say,
a
though.
start-
This is the argument you're getting on Twitter. They're not backups. When you have these 8, they're rotating throughout the game. These are not back. They're maybe not the guys lining up to start the game, but the defensive end we pick and the defensive tackle we pick will be rotating in at least 40, 50% of snaps.
Right, but again, it's not the running back that you hope is getting 20 touches a game that is literally your starting back and equating for however percentage of the offense.
Let's not pretend like DeAndre Swift is just going to go from his touches to 0. The new running back is probably going to start with 10 touches a game and then move up to 15. I don't know if he's going to get 20 touches a game. You might.
I
I
agree with that exact number. Actually, I do think that our new running back would start with 10 and go to 15. That's excellent, spot on. But still, even that said, if you're integrating pass receiving, pass blocking, I think that a running back is as big of a need as a defensive lineman. Now, again, I'm not saying that I want the Bears to draft a running back at 10. I've said this several times. I don't want that. I just think that running back 1 on the Chicago Bears in 2025 is a bigger need than any defensive lineman that we currently need.
I don't agree.
Okay.
We can disagree, but I don't agree. I think running back is a huge need, but I would label it right now: defensive end, defensive tackle, then running back, then tight end, and then all your depth. The interior offensive line, if you go to slide 4 there that I had there too, we have no depth. Like, people forget so quickly. And I'm not saying we take depth in the first round. I'm not saying that, guys. Maybe we take Josh Simmons, though, and make Braxton Jones depth, or trade him for a 4th rounder that we already traded away this year.
That's what I tried to allude to earlier, is that Ben Johnson, in all of his pressers, anytime he's had the opportunity to answer this question, he said that the offensive line is not a group of 5. It's a group of 7, 8, 9.
8,
so,
8, 9.
I genuinely would not be surprised if the Chicago Bears at 10th overall select their 2026 left tackle. And again, that tackle could play in 2025. It just feels weird to rule out Karl so quickly, 3rd round pick, but again, selected essentially in the past regime. Still got the general manager. I would sure hope that they can have Karl become their left tackle in 2026. That would be ideal.
Well, here's the thing. Even though next year's left tackle class is stronger than this year's, Josh Simmons is arguably better than any left tackle in this class, and you might get a discount on him. And as long as his medicals come back, when are you ever going to pick higher than 10?
What do you mean a discount on Josh Simmons?
If he was healthy and he played a full season, he would be easily a top 5 pick. Easy.
So the discount is being selected at 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you can, I mean, Japan, who knows where Josh Simmons will end up going, but he's easily the best offensive tackle in this class if he was healthy. And, you know, if next year, if we're picking where we should be in the 20s, if we're picking in the 20s, are you going to get one of the best left tackles in this next class next year? Or are you going to pay Braxton Jones $20, $25, $30 million a year?
Now, hear me out. Stay with me now. What did the Redskins just do? They gave up everything for a left tackle because they actually don't agree with Adam Mason as far as the Bears are concerned. The Redskins aren't in win now mode. They are in Super Bowl now.
Well, they
just went to the NFC Championship game.
We could trade for a left tackle, but it's hard to do. What the Redskins did with the Commanders, what they just did was, it's hard to do. You don't usually see trades for left tackles in the offseason. It doesn't happen.
And that was twofold, right? The Redskins needed a left tackle, and D'Amico Ryans needed to get rid of a player who he thought was a problem. They had to beg him to practice, right? So that is a unique situation, in my opinion. It's rare, and I don't think the Bears could come across it easily. But if I asked you on February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, before free agency started, if I asked you, could the Bears get Joe Thuney, you'd just call me stupid. You'd say there's no problem. There's no way that could ever happen. And look what we've got. So
but
the Bears are aggressive
more often than tackle trades, though.
Sure.
But
I hear you, but
hit John S.'s comment right there real quick. So with this, I don't like Banks at all. I don't like his tape at all. I don't like much about Banks. I mean, he's the epitome of highlights but lowlights. Like, there's too much variation in his tape for me. I don't like it. Ursary is sneaky good to me, but he's a little bit short-armed. He's left 34, which is not terrible. I've liked the idea of taking Ursary, and if he falls at 39, I don't think he will. He'll be gone by the end of the
I was going to say, I've heard that guy being mocked in the 2nd round, which to me is crazy from the way that you've talked about him. I think he's the same
thing. He should easily go 1st round, but if he doesn't, I love Ursary. I think Ursary is a great option. You could even plug him in at left guard, get him some experience, but his kick slide, the thing I like to watch most on these, how do they do in the run game? How do they do in their pass pro? How well do they kick slide? How well do they have their base and their foundation under them? Do they get bull rushed at all? And I'm not in love with Banks, but I do like Ursary a ton. But Simmons is hands down. Who are you waving to? Are you?
I am waving at my girlfriend's 5-year-old sister, but I digress.
Cute. I thought you were trying to wave to the comment or the chat, but that's cute.
No, so before we get back onto that topic, I just want to address this before I forget it. Cliff asks, woke is going away. Redskins name coming back. Adam, if that offends you, please let me know. I'm willing to come off of that. But I have seen across the social medias, and I have a direct
I'm offended by the Redskins. No.
I'm going to leave that. Adam, I'll leave that right there. I'll let you speak for yourself. But all I want to say is that not me, but the Bears Country Productions has had a direct experience with Redskins fans. It was synonymous. I think it was across 5+ people. They all said, our team is the Redskins. You look at the playoff game against the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay, you've got the Redskins logo in between the field goal while they're kicking the extra point. Like, it's ridiculous. So if that offends you, I apologize, but it's not coming out of a place of disrespect.
You're not offending. Did you see the T-shirt that Redskins fans made that had a white guy on the front of the shirt and it said Caucasians below it? Did you see that? It's like, how many of you were offended by this? Nobody's offended by it. It's history of the league. They need to change it back to the Redskins. They need to change it back to the Indians.
Now,
they need to bring Hey Red back. We've got it at my own freaking university here where I graduated from. They took our mascot away because they said he looks too Confederate. He was a West. What do they call them? What was Lewis and Clark? What are they called?
I'm sorry, just right over my head. I'm sorry.
Expedition? I don't know. What do they call them? They're people who explore, who settler. He was a settler, and they took our mascot away. Did you guys know that? They took K-Rab away a couple years ago. They need to bring him back too. Anyways, I digress. I went.
Viewers of the show, the Scrolls, Romy, yeah. All I'll say on that, I'm losing my train of thought, but I think that the change to the Washington football team, the Commanders, that goes hand in hand with trying to scrub your former sexual predator owner from the minds of your fans and the NFL as a whole. So keep that in mind, please.
How much better are the Commanders off, though, man? Like, even though we have some beef with them, apparently, like Bears fans and Commanders fans have some beef. I don't
Adam,
like, screw it.
Jaden Daniels gave the Chicago Bears our new head coach. They knocked Ben Johnson out of the playoffs a lot sooner than anyone thought. He's directly responsible, in my opinion, for allowing us to have our new head coach, who I adore.
Well, how much did this come to fruition? Last offseason, like, this was like when my platform, we just started my channel, and my biggest analysis was the 2023 or 2024 NFL draft is going to be full of multiple starting franchise quarterbacks in the NFL. It would be Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams. Those were the three I literally put my platform on. And people, you're so stupid saying Bo Nix. You're so stupid with this and that. And the point was not, one's better than the other. It was, hey, we have an opportunity to trade down. That's over. It's done with. I'm not dragging that up. I'm just saying with that, they did what they thought they would do. The Commanders picked second. They were going to get a franchise quarterback too. It's not just one franchise quarterback in a draft. Now in this draft, I don't know. There might not even be one franchise quarterback. We'll see. Time tells those things. But
yeah. Anyway, we were talking about left tackle prospects, because there is a certain someone in the chat. What? They were tooting the horn for Mr. Armband Bamboo, and I know I'm butchering that name and I'm doing it on purpose, but what do you think about this Bamboo guy? Memboo, I'm sorry.
Not best tackle, best right tackle probably. That's fine. I like Memboo. I like Armand Memboo.
He was a good player in college. I know Dane Brugler adores him, and I've heard people mocking him high before the Combine. Then the Combine happened, and he did a very good job for himself, right? How do you feel about Memboo at 10?
No, not for the Bears. It's harder to switch from right to left than people realize. That's not an easy. You see him switch from left to right more often, but not right to left. That just doesn't happen.
You're thinking about a starting tackle on the 2025 Bears. But what do you think about drafting a guy who could be an elite right guard, assuming this was before this Jonah Jackson extension, right? It makes my argument a lot harder. But before the extension, there was an immediate out, essentially, after this year on Jonah Jackson. Would you draft an elite, like a top-tier elite guard at 10?
I wouldn't, but that's just me. I mean, I can see people doing it. Your best guards have gone higher, probably mid-teens in the first round. I'm not there with the guard position yet. I know they're getting paid more. I get that. but like we just showed on that graph, that's backup needs now. If I'm going to do anything at 10, it's going to be your rotational defensive tackle or defensive end. That's where my head is with this draft. If not, if you're trading back and you're building more draft capital, that's where I plant my flag. I've been planting that flag for a while. Trade back from 10, wherever you can trade back to 10, 15, 17, 18, wherever. Who knows how far polls would be willing to go. If you can acquire one more pick, then take whatever the F you want to at pick number 17. Say you trade with the Bengals or the Seahawks at 18 or 17. You pick up a second rounder. You want to pick up Omarion Hampton at 17 or 18. That's better than at 10 to me. And I know it seems like it's a not a far distance, but it's the difference between make $4.5 million a year and $2.8 million a year. And that doesn't sound like a ton, but it is on those rookie.
It is.
And you picked up an extra pick in the second round to be able to pick up that defensive end. And now I think the significant gap isn't running back from round 1 to 2. I think you'll still find a good running back in round 2. The significant gap to me from round 1 to 2 is your defensive tackles. If you want a defensive tackle, there is a huge drop off. Now there's depth.
What about the defensive ends? Because what I'm understanding of this draft class is that the defensive end room is top heavy.
Yep, and defensive tackle. And people aren't talking about defensive tackles enough, but defensive ends, your top ones will go in the first round. Defensive tackle, but it's going to be deep. You can find some guys that will rotate in. You can find an Omar Norman Lott. You can find a Deion Walker. You can find there's so many good names. Antoine Powell Ryland at defensive end in the third round. Like, I would be very happy with him in the third round. But if you want to have a game changer that's going to rotate in on day 1 on that defensive line, which I still think they need one. We picked up 2 great ones, Grady Jarrett and Dio Odengbo. We're still not done with the starters there. So pressing needs, defensive tackle, defensive end, running back, tight end 2. Some people think Durham Smythe is a tight end. He's here to help block. He's here to be Mercedes Lewis. He's not here for 12
You didn't complete
sets.
that thought. You've seen people think that Smythe is tight end too?
Oh, well, there's a ton of Bears fans who think we picked up Smythe for tight end too.
Yikes. Because I know we brought in Steven Carlson, so immediately Bears fans will say, look, 3 tight ends on the roster. That's what they are, right?
Squad.
Yeah. Steven
You're
Carlson
filling out
is
a 90-man roster.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't even do a
totally agree
video
with you.
on Steven Carlson coming back. Why? Because he's a practice squad move. He's filling out the 90-man roster. That's what he is. There's a reason at the Combine we interviewed Tyler Warren, Mason Taylor, Ferguson from Oregon. I think there were 4 tight ends that we interviewed. It's a priority to us. It's going to be one of the priorities. Do we take it first round? It's going to depend on how the draft falls. I really hope from what Ryan Poles said and what he had on the Bears website that he really is going to take a trade down. And then, some people have said, well, there's going to be no trades in this year's draft. I'm struggling. There's trades in every single draft, every one, without fail. Whether the Bears do that, we'll see. But there's always trades in the first round. There's always trades in the second round. It's going to happen.
Sorry, I wanted to give you your time to rant. And I'm coming up with a poll. So if you guys are in the Thy&Smi channel in the chat, I'm going to get a poll for you guys. I want to hear your opinions. But Victor Perez had asked you, or I guess us, but specifically yourself, the master. Where do you see the drop-off for these defensive tackles, Adam?
Well, there's 2 drop-offs. Your starters, you plug in day 1 after the first round. I can see Kenneth Grant obviously is the clear and cut number 1. And behind him, I actually have Walter Nolan number 2. Some people have Kenny Grant. Some people have, we got to look at I got to hurry and pull it up. But after that, there's no clear. Tyleik Williams, some would argue, is in the top tier. I don't have Tyleik Williams in tier number 1. I've got him right at the start of tier number 2. But you're going to see a huge gap between starters in round 1, and then tier 2 will last all the way from the second round into the 4th round. So there's some good quality options later. I mean, you can get guys later.
All the way into the 4th round?
Sure. Think about after this first tier. To me, it's Mason Graham, Kenny Grant, and Walter Nolan. After that, some would argue.
Who are those guys? Is that the Michigan Big 3?
Yeah, exactly.
Go on,
Mason
please.
Graham, Walter Nolan, and some would argue Derek Harmon too. But Derek Harmon, to me, his tackling grades are just way too low. But he does get great pressure. But there's a cutoff there in those top 3, and then you're going to have some that might make the first round, like your Tyleik Williams, your your Derek Harmon. Those guys would be fringe, but they're still fringe first rounders. And then after that, in the second round, you're going to have your Tyleek Williams, your Deion Walkers, your TJ Sanders, Omar Norman Lott, and then you're going to get into those later areas where you have Aeneas Peebles and Nazir Stackhouse. But there's good quality in that second tier all the way into the third, fourth round because it's a deep class. Alfred Collins, I'm leaving him out. The Bears interviewed him. But there's good options later. I just don't see those guys as starting rotational guys that we need. We need one more starting rotational guy. And to me, that's Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, and Walter Nolan. Just my opinion. Some people would add Tyleek Williams into that. Some people would add Derek Harmon into that. But I just think there's a few struggles there. Tyleek Williams doesn't get as much pressure. His pressure is completely low. It's very low. And Derek Harmon is not the best tackler. So those guys stay out of tier one to me. But sorry, there's my rant. I go on my tirades.
No, the chat loves these rants, as you know. I'm modifying that poll because Cliff is right. I think that there's a lot of chatter with Tyler Warren, and I don't want to just pigeonhole running back, right? Because we've already discussed we don't want a running back at 10th overall. So I'm going to modify the poll, okay? If you guys voted, please vote again. It's going to be the same groupings, except the first selection will be running back or tight end. But
and with what your question on defensive end, I think you could see a run on with all the teams that need a defensive end. There's such good quality in that first round. You could possibly see Abdul Carter, James Pierce, Nick Scourton, Mikael Williams, Princely Umanmielen, Landon Jackson, Mike Green. You could see 7 of Shamar Stewart.
Now Landon Jackson's a talk for first round.
He has been for a long time for several places. He's a fringe first round guy for several.
That's terrible. Now, all I'll say is that I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Why do you say that's terrible? I'm just curious.
Now,
that's not where the simulator has him.
It's terrible for the Bears because the Bears need all these guys, and you'd hope that it gets pushed down. Is all I'm trying to say, right? But that's the thing. I did a mock draft and I got Landon Jackson in the 3rd round. Now we're talking about guys who are in the 1st round. Now, I'm going to corroborate your story by saying I've heard for the longest time that in the 2025 NFL Draft, picks 20 to 60 are the same. So if that's what we're talking about.
Well, it depends on who's going to go at 20 and who's going to go to 6, who's going to hand there.
It's all about scheme, fit. Do you like the human? Do you care if they're an alleged murderer like Jalen Carter? I hear you.
JC1 just put on there, Landon is explosive, 40.4-inch vertical and 270. Here's something nobody's talking about with Landon Jackson. Why he could sneak up as high as the mid-teens, in my opinion. Out of all of the top prospects, Landon Jackson is the only one to have a positive above 75 grade at both total defense, total run defense, tackling, and pressure. He's the only one that has that positive 75 grade on all those 4 different areas, even above Abdul Carter. He's the only one. So I don't know. Landon Jackson is 270, 280 pounds. He's a freak athlete, and he doesn't sacrifice in the run game. And that's something the Bears need drastically is to stop the run. And he still gets tons of pressure. He still, his numbers weren't lagging in pressure. So,
but you're telling me that Landon Jackson has a chance to go in the 1st round, which would mean that he's not available for the Bears at 39 or 41. Are you suggesting the Bears take Landon Jackson at 10th overall?
No.
Thank you.
There's better defensive tackle prospects. There's other better edges ahead of him. I'm just saying you could see a run on 7 or 8 defensive ends go in the 1st round. I'm not the first one to say there could be 12 defensive linemen taken in the 1st round. That could easily happen,
including the defensive tackles.
Yeah, you could see 5
Adam, I would be shocked if that didn't happen.
Well, then why are we acting like it's there's not going to be a gap after that in the 2nd round? Why are we? If those top 7 defensive ends and those top 5 defensive tackles are gone, what are we doing at 39? You're taking players that are more developmental.
You're saying what do we do at 39 after we've maybe potentially selected a running back in the 1st round?
Well, I don't care whatever it was.
Via trade down at 10, God forbid.
Say we took Josh Simmons. It doesn't just have to be the running back thing. Say we took Josh Simmons.
For sure. Or Tyler Warren.
And all these guys went off the board for defensive tackles. Mason Graham, Walter Nolan, Kenny Grant, Tyleek Williams, Derek Harmon, your top ones went off the board. And at defensive end, your top 7 go off the board. Landon Jackson's not there. Princely Umanmielen's not there. You're left with Jack Sawyer, which isn't the end of the world.
Yes, it is.
It could happen. Jack Sawyer, and that's not the
it
end of the world.
It better not.
he's not as high a prospect as some of these other ones. And I like his tenacity. There's things you like about all these guys. I like his tenacity. I like his energy and his drive. He's got that mentality that's just like a championship winner. Didn't he win? Oh, didn't Ohio State win the national championship?
Potentially, but it wasn't a legitimate national championship because they let Mickey Mouse teams like Boise State and Indiana into the competition, so it was fraudulent. Anyway.
But did Michigan even make the playoff? I mean, they expanded this playoff to include
they did not.
12 teams.
Well, Adam, Michigan didn't make the playoff because they were forced to start a 31-year-old quarterback in college.
I see.
So they were screwed. And all they did was have David Portnoy, however you say the Barstool guy's name, give an 18-year-old $10 million, come play for Michigan. So, well, we don't have that problem anymore, but I digress on Michigan.
Okay, so Karl, you say all these things. Who's your priority at number 10? I mean, my priority is clear. I think we need to take the best defensive tackle, possibly. I mean, if there's some run on defensive tackle, I want to trade down, and then I want to take the best available. Which I don't know if I even know your stance on it. Where do you just want ghost?
The priority's simple. Emotionally, bring up the Maslow's chart. You have to come away with the Michigan Big Three. I don't feel comfortable taking Walter Nolan at 10. I think it's too high for the player, and I don't know if the character concerns are going to be a good fit.
Okay, so just character, because you're good taking Mason Graham at 10, but not Walter Nolan, who's his identical clone.
Correct. Again, not because of maybe the play on the field or the measurables, whatever you want to say. I'm a little bit leery of the off-the-field stuff, okay? So in a trade-down scenario, if you can acquire one of the big three being Walter Nolan, love it. Would adore that. Now, the priority, I've told you what the priority is. Trade up to first overall and get Mason Graham. I could care less. If there's a will, there's a way to get him. Please, by the grace of God, get Mason Graham on the Chicago Bears. Trade up to 7, 8, 9. I don't care. Do it. Get him. If he's not there and they needed to address the defensive tackle position, I heard from a guest on the Barroom Network who was speaking with Greg Gabriel. I think he's a Houston radio host. I can't remember the name. He said that he had essentially an inside source to Michigan. He heard that from Michigan faithful, coaching staff, whatever, that they actually feel that Kenneth Grant has more potential than Mason Graham. From a measurable standpoint, once Kenneth Grant figures out that he's bigger, stronger than the person blocking him, he could really unlock some untapped potential. So, Adam Mason, if the Bears took Kenneth Grant at 10th overall, I would throw a fucking party. I would be so in love with that pick. I'd be totally okay with Kenneth Grant at 10th overall.
So I do my draft prospect profiles. Man, I'm struggling with something tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I do my draft prospect profiles. Kenny Grant, I did. I don't know why I call him Kenny Grant. I think it's because every Kenneth I know in the world goes by Kenny. I don't even know if Kenneth Grant goes by Kenny, but I call him Kenny Grant, so I'm sorry.
And I'm the Michigan fan. I don't know.
So I did that, and I showed tape on that for just a couple minutes where I said Mason Graham benefited from Kenneth Grant in that system.
It's not an either-or situation. Both of those players were on the 2023 national championship team where they went 15-0.
I won't be upset at
they're
all.
They're both good.
The pick at 10. I won't be one bit upset, and I do
fist
think
bump on that. Fuck yeah! Like I would love that, Adam. Like I'm very much okay with that. Now, again, I still feel like running back's a great need, but I would take Kenneth Grant ahead of Omarion Hampton or Ashton Genty without a shadow of a doubt.
The only thing I'm worried about with the running backs is there is going to be a run on running backs at some point.
We've talked about that.
But does anybody else feel like I do with these GMs? Because they have other needs too. Maybe they feel the same way that we're not taking a running back in the first round when we've got Bashaul's Tutton sitting there in the third round possible. We can hit some of these guys that are underrated. And we
Adam, you're transitioning like that clip I showed you yesterday, that meme where it goes from the cartoon to the rap song. Like that's the type of transitioning we're doing right here. It's fucking fantastic, okay? Because I wanted to ask you, I've talked ad nauseum about
Scottish Bears. He might not be there if we trade back. Kenneth Grant is that good of a prospect. Don't listen to your big boards. I can't express that enough, guys. Just like Ryan Poles when he picked Darnell Wright, he took him at 10. He didn't take him at 15, 17, 22, where all the big boards had him. If there's someone you like and he fits the system and he's going to change this team, there's very likelihood that somebody else likes him too. So.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a player. I know Scottish Bear had the comment about Mason Graham falling to Philadelphia or Kansas City. Now, Kenneth Grant falling to those guys is actually a little bit more realistic in my opinion for whatever reason. Maybe I'm dead wrong on that, but that would be just a devastating get for those guys, right? If you imagine Kenneth Grant replaces the kid who just signed with the Patriots, Milton Williams, that would be a clear-cut, immediate upgrade in my opinion. Talk about a multiple Super Bowl winner. The Eagles are going to be talking about a three-peat soon if that happens. So, as far as the transitioning, I've talked ad nauseum about the big five for the running backs. Again, in this order. Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, and then Caleb Johnson. And Caleb Johnson's a little bit iffy. That's why I used the pinky. Caleb Johnson at 39-41, I probably would vomit. I would not be happy with that.
What the heck are you talking? Caleb Johnson's my number 3. I have him
That's where we disagree.
Travion Henderson.
And I can admit when I could be dead wrong. That's fine. I'm seeing a running back at Iowa who benefited from a fantastic offensive line. If I'm dead wrong and the Bears have the offensive line and Caleb Johnson is a clone of Matt Forte, so be it. Obviously, that on the Bears, that'd make me very happy. But
I'm seeing a running back in Iowa who averaged over 6 yards a carry and carried that team, who his elusiveness grade is off the chart too. The only weakness with Caleb Johnson is for his size, he should be a better pass blocker. That's it. For me, Caleb Johnson is an absolute.
I have heard that he doesn't have the wiggle too, which is it just makes me a little bit nervous, man. I just don't think he is as elite of a running back as the other four that I mentioned before him. And if I'm dead wrong, that's fine by me. But my question for you, Adam, and I'm going to end the poll on the Thy&Smi channel again. I asked you guys what position you would address at 10th overall between the groupings of running back or tight end, or offensive tackle, or defensive end. 54% say defensive tackle, so bravo to you guys. Now, Adam, the question I have for you. Outside of the big five running backs, and we're talking about maybe a day 3 pick, probably that 3rd round pick, what running back available in the later stages of the draft elevates the Chicago Bears offense?
What's later stages to you?
I guess let's call it anyone outside of the big five, right? Because I'm going to have a chat poll up real soon here. I'm talking about a Cam Scadaboo, like you just brought up, Bashul Tutton. Or if there's another guy that you have on the radar, an Ollie Gordon perhaps, or the answer will be none. But what running back in the later stages, whatever it is,
oh my gosh, this
elevates, I know, but what running back still elevates the Chicago Bears offense in that scenario outside of those big five?
All of them. I think it's being overlooked way too much. There's way too much hype on going first round. And I'm not saying the Bears aren't doing it. And I sometimes get annoyed by Ryan Poles because he doesn't think like me. Shoot, oh well, Ryan Poles is in charge. I'm not. But there are a dozen running backs in this class with elusiveness grades that are first round. And I'm just talking elusiveness grade and ones that are being overlooked. Excuse me. Bashul Tutton is finally getting the recognition. I had him ranked high. I had him ranked in my top 10 before the combine. Now he runs a 4.3 240, and everybody's like, oh, look at Bashul Tutton. But he had a yards after contact of 4.4 yards per carry. That's adding his speed to that. I mean, he's one of the top. He's got the same yards after contact as Caleb Johnson and Omarion Hampton. So he's bound. He's a ping pong ball too. He's got great contact balance, and he's freaking fast too for someone who's 210 pounds. He's 5'11", 210 pounds. Elusiveness grade off the chart, 6.3 yards per attempt and 4.4 yards after contact. Bashul Tutton's a steal. And you even get even farther down. You've got guys like Raheem Sanders, who's got great elusiveness. RJ Harvey is also one of my top 10. I think you were asking after the big five.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't steal my thunder on RJ Harvey. Again, I think that he's apples to apples with DeAndre Swift. I just think he's better than DeAndre Swift. And I don't know if it's a good fit for Chicago. But if they found a way to get some good value for DeAndre Swift, I would take RJ Harvey in a freaking heartbeat. That guy's amazing.
You just compared RJ Harvey to DeAndre Swift?
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, DeAndre Swift did go in the 2nd round, but I don't see them as the safe style of back. RJ Harvey, I guess they are about the same size too. What is DeAndre Swift's size?
I have no idea.
I'm really sorry. I'm dying here. I'm trying to drink the water too. I've just got a tickle in my throat, guys.
No
RJ Harvey, I think he was number 2 in all of college football. Maybe it was Travion Henderson, but he's right up there with yards per attempt with Ashton Genty. Like he's right up there. He just didn't get workhorsed as much as Ashton Genty. Wasn't he UCF? UCF for RJ Harvey. It just
He's
didn't get
literally
used
like
to.
the college leader in all total yards, I'm pretty sure. And like he was flirting with like historical NCAA numbers. Like the guy is fantastic.
You're
Again,
talking-
I don't see him as a starting lead back that's a bell cow. There's something about him being more elusive, smaller, more elusive, faster. I just don't think he would be the good fit, but I would rather have RJ Harvey than DeAndre Swift.
RJ Harvey is almost identical to Ashton Genty in everything. His size, his build, everything. His elusiveness, his yards per attempt.
Yeah,
his yards
but
after
it's
contact.
apples to oranges as far as running between the tackles, being hard to tackle, in my opinion. I don't see that.
I agree. There's something that separates Ashton Genty. I get that. I'm not trying to say RJ Harvey's on the same level. I'm just saying some of these lower guys are being overlooked because the top of this draft is getting overhyped. So some of these lower guys, if we ended up with a Devin Neal, if we ended up with a RJ Harvey, if we ended up with a DJ Giddens, a Bayshul Tutton, I won't be upset at all. I won't be one bit upset whatsoever.
Oh, that's hearsay. Let's not get it twisted, though. Swift was the best offensive player on the team last year. I disagree with that. He may have had the most production out of, a failed system that came from Shane Waldron, but I think that Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, probably even Roman Dunze was a better offensive player in the grand scheme. Maybe not utilized properly or got the volume.
Probably. I mean, Roman Dunze just set records as a rookie for his contested catch ability.
Yeah, I really dislike the slander on him, and that's why I'm so against. I'm in love with the Zacchaeus signing because he's going to be the clear wide receiver 3 who again will cap out at 400 or 500 yards in the season, but that's going to allow Roma Dunze to shine. And from my emotional standpoint, he needs to. And once Roma Dunze shows out in 2026, I'm going to victory lap like a motherfucker. But anyway.
As you should. As I should. Hey, I don't
So
know if
Adam,
anybody was as bold as me last year who said Roma Dunze would have a better career than Marvin Harrison Jr. I went that far, and I'm holding to it. Hey, Karl, you're at 513 subscribers, brother.
Yeah, it's incredible. The Masonites are coming through. You guys are just fantastic. So, again, if you've subscribed today, yesterday, or any time before that, God bless you. Thank you so very much for that. Again, I would much rather you just spend your time in the chat, and leave some comments, interact with us. It makes the show so much better than it would be without you guys. But if you're subscribing, you can enable notifications. You could watch us again in the future. So again, lovely stuff. You guys are fantastic, and thank you.
I love the love for Roma. I'm just going to point something out, guys. As a rookie, Roma Dunze was number 1 in the NFL, not out of rookies, number 1 in the NFL for contested catches last year. His problem was not his capability. His problem was scheme, getting on the same page with Caleb as 2 rookies. There were 2 rookies together, working together, getting together on the same same scheme, and getting the targets necessary. Caleb, as much as we like Caleb, I think I don't know where it was top 10. I don't know where on that list of most overthrown or poorly thrown balls to a receiver. Caleb and Rome were just not on the same page. Route running, sitting in the flats, getting it together. But he is a star in the making. His contested catches were above 72%, which was number 1 in the NFL and hasn't been that high for a rookie in the last decade. Only one other rookie has done it. I can't remember who. I'd have to pull it up. I'd have to pull up who it was. Only one other rookie has done that. You get Caleb and Rome on the same page this year with his contested catch ability. Do you remember that? It was at the end of the season. Yeah, we were driving.
You're stealing my thunder on this. It was against the Seahawks, right?
Were Rome on the sideline? Do you remember that?
Oh, no, I was talking about the Seahawks game, where essentially he chose to come back to the quarterback because he thought that was the correct thing to do. But what he should have done is continued the route down the field, which is where Caleb Williams threw the ball.
Well, no, that's
if I'm not mistaken, that was put the ball into Seattle territory. You essentially could get a field goal. That's like a game-losing mistake, essentially.
Yeah, but look at the good things Rome did do on the sidelines. There's that vintage. I don't even know what game it was where he's laying out, his toes are touching, and he's basically vertical.
That was Green Bay. That was in Green Bay.
Was it the last game? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many positive things.
And he he was.
did.
You're on 4th down, I think it was, against Green Bay at home when there's still a sliver of a playoff chance. Where's the ball going on 4th down? And you need to fucking convert. It's going to Rome Odunze.
Yep. Rome's the man. Rome is
Scottish.
Rome is
I haven't heard that before. I'm going to use that all the time, and I'm going to credit you on that, Scottish. The Rome or doomsday clock is ticking. That's fucking amazing.
I like it.
That's
like it.
awesome.
Who said that I like Genty? I don't dislike Genty. I hate a running back taken at 10th overall.
Same.
That's it. Ryan Schlancer. It's not that I don't want Genty. I don't want him taken at 10th overall. I don't want. And people were saying it. Well, would you change your tune if Genty was taken by the Raiders at 6 and the Bears took Hampton at 10? It's the same thing. I like Hampton. You guys know I like Hampton. I don't like Hampton at 10. I don't like anybody at 10 as a running back. I want that defensive tackle. I want a trade back. I want more value, and then we can address the running back.
If Mason Graham, Ashton Genty, and Kenneth Grant are gone at 10th and the Bears draft Omari and Hampton, I won't be upset. I wouldn't like it. I would not like it, but I would not be upset.
If you guys love Ashton Genty and you want to see me melt down, just come to my draft on draft night and watch if we pick Ashton Genty. There might be some. I am a cleaner podcaster. I don't swear very often. It just doesn't happen. You might get a whole different variety of Adam on draft night if we pick Ashton Genty. There might be.
And I got a glimpse into this, chat. I was in the live stream with Adam Mason when the Chicago Bears drafted Torrey Taylor. Adam Mason was not a happy camper.
Yeah, through the
And that was an all-timer, though, because you retracted. You said, I'm making a Torrey Taylor video if we draft Austin Booker, and lo and behold, what happened?
We drafted Austin Booker. It's true. You know who that is?
That's Torrey Taylor?
Yeah, Torrey Taylor signed.
Incredible. What, did you bring it to that Bears game you went to or something?
No, I bought a signed one. I just wanted it.
That's still really cool.
I just wanted it. I bought it. I didn't get it signed personally.
That's awesome, though.
Look at Cliff Victoria making fun of me about Ashton Genty.
Is that true?
I would support Ashton Genty dating my niece. In fact, she's available. Ashton Genty, if you watch this, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter. I'll give you my niece's phone number. She's 23 years old. She's available. I'll let you date her.
Wow. That's insane. Anyway, regarding the question I asked you in the chat poll that's currently active over on the Thy&Smi channel, the YouTube channel, I asked which running back would elevate the Chicago Bears offense, essentially the most, right? Because there's several. But the options were Cam Scadaboo, Bashul Tutton, other, and I asked you guys to put the name in the chat, and I said the fourth option was none outside the Big Five elevate us. Do you have any idea who's leading that race, Adam?
Well, I'm looking at it. So it's Cam Scadaboo.
I can't believe it, and I got flamed, right? I showed you that comment. I got called an idiot because I called Cam Scadaboo damaged goods. Here's a good question for you. When is the latest that you think that the Chicago Bears would be able to acquire Cam Scadaboo? Because I've seen Cam Scatpack get mock draft in the 2nd round.
It depends on where that run happens. So once the primary teams that need a running back have that need felt, if he falls outside of that top 6 or 7, you might see him fall to the 3rd round. But if he falls within the push, he'll fall in the 2nd round. He's going to be right there in that range, though. But there's always run on certain positions, and it's funny because then once that run's done, teams are going to look at their big boards and they're going to say, well, this team's already taken their running back. We don't have to go running back here in the 2nd round. We can wait for the 3rd round. And it's just how teams think. If the competition for that position is taken already, then you can still get a really good player in the 3rd round instead of the 2nd round. The thing with Cam Scadaboo is contact. This class should be summed up as contact balance. This class will be really good.
I was going to say, if we were able to skim Adam Mason's The Bear Down Sports channel's YouTube videos and shove it into an AI where it could read all of the captions, your hot word is contact balance. You love that word.
That's just this draft class, and that's why there's so much yards after contact with this draft class. And I just don't see that happening, but it would be fantastic.
Now, if it did, again, we're talking about one of the Michigan Big Three at 39. I'm going to Vegas with Adam, and we're all gonna throw it on red or something to celebrate, man.
Imagine we took Kenny Grant at at 10, or we traded down and took him at 15 or 16 or whatever happened there, and we took Kenny Grant, and then Walter Nolan's available at 39, would you be pissed off if we took 2 defensive tackles with our first 2 picks?
What a terrible question. I would spontaneously combust with happiness. And you could envision that in whatever sense, but something's combusting, and it's going to be glorious in that scenario.
I don't see it happen. I think they would move off of Walter Nolan, but I would be upset if they passed on him if that happened.
Well, I hope that a situation like that, the awkwardness would be that Walter Nolan had fallen because of his character concerns, right? And I just don't see in the past, again, the alleged murderer situation, we're going to go with the good guy, right? But opportunity cost, you could get a first-round talent at 39 in a position essentially of need.
Here's the thing: is
that would be so. Do you know the best human being that I can think of off the top of my head to teach Walter Nolan how to be a better human? A guy who he'd be working with day to day very closely? That's fucking Grady Jarrett. That would be a slam dunk pick.
Go to your
at
dark
39.
place. We'd have to have a Batman spot. Go to your dark place during the game, and then
I'll get that fixed up for you. Don't you worry. Let me write that down.
That whole dark place thing, that would be great for Grady Jarrett to. Hey, Walter Nolan, you got some character issues? Get it out in the field. Get that dark place.
Not to be confused with like an Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca trip, but I hear you.
So, man, there could really be someone that falls to us at 39 that's a first round talent, though. Very, very, very likely.
Well, I just said it earlier. Picks 20 to 60, they're the same. So ideally, picks 39 and
what if it's
41? You're getting the value of 20th overall.
I see a linebacker falling at 39, a first round talent linebacker. What do you think about that?
And who is that? Jihad Campbell?
Sure. What if he falls to us at 39 and we need
if Jihad Campbell can really fly, again, I sandbag on Alabama players because of how Michigan was able to just Michigan forced the greatest college head coach of all time to retire. I'm still victory lapping that, right? So these kids from that team I've got no respect for, but maybe I'm stupid for that. And I admit that. If Jihad Campbell can fucking fly, and he's going to take the year to get better as linebacker 3, replace Jack Sanborn, and then be our starting linebacker for the foreseeable future, and we let go of Tremaine Edmonds, I'm okay with it.
There's a discrepancy there who the second best is off the board, but the Bears.
Hold on. Young mind elevation. I think you have character issues. You might not be wrong. But no, it's not like that, man. I'm not trying to slander anyone. It's not a situation where
the rumor that's going around.
Yeah, I'm not a big pundit trying to slander kids, trying to make millions of dollars, right? I wish all these guys could get signed to a $10 million contract just for the sake of that, right? It's not like that, man, but I hear you.
Yeah. Question is, are we going to overdraft a linebacker? You saw us bring in Carson Schweschinger from UCLA at the combine, who many have as a second-round talent. Do we overdraft him at 41 because Ryan Poles likes to get his guy that he likes?
That pick, I think I'd cry myself to sleep. The only one that I think you could talk me into at 39 or 41 is Jihad Campbell, and that's because I've seen him mocked in the teens.
What do you care about where they're mocked at? Look at the talent. So
I get that.
This is why I want the trade down more than anything, is this exact scenario, because we need defensive tackle, defensive end, running back, tight end, and probably an interior offensive lineman at the top. And you could argue different positions there as well. You could argue someone else there. But we have 4 picks in the top 72. We need 5. We need 5 of them to fill all those needs. To really get the highest caliber guys, we need 5. So I want to trade down from 10. I don't see Ryan Poles going all the way down to 17 or 18. So let's just say we trade down to Indianapolis. What are they, 14 or 15? Their biggest need is tight end now. So say Tyler Warren is there, and they really want Tyler Warren, and they're good trade partners with us in the past. Maybe that came because of Matt Eberflus, though, because he came from Indy. Maybe that was the connection there. Maybe that's dead. Either way, I digress. Say we trade with Indy and we pick up their second rounder or third rounder, then we can fill all those needs. This is why I want the trade down again. This is why I want an extra pick, because we need to fill the primary needs first.
I don't think I've said this yet. As far as drafting a running back, I think that in this modern day and age, you have to be able to have the ability to play with house money in that sense, right? And in this scenario, we are playing with house money with pick 39. So again, weeks and weeks back before the combine, when I mocked the Bears to draft Omarion Hampton at 39, I thought it was a flawless pick. And again, got called an idiot. Now, if you draft Omarion Hampton at 39, you've been graced by God.
Yeah, it
so
changes so fast.
If you can play with house money, like you said, go from 10 to the teens, get Omarion Hampton. I know Adam wouldn't like it necessarily, but I would. That's playing with house money times 2. That's amazing. But I think it starts with the trade down.
Late
if you can trade down, yeah, sure, whatever. 18,
I've said
17.
I'm okay with the running back later in the first. At 10, I just can't. I know I'm stubborn, guys. I know I'm bullheaded. I know I have my strong. I just can't accept that at 10. I can't. I just have a hard time with it. The risk is too high.
I hear you. So
And
if
look,
you
the
can double
Lions
up on
traded
that,
back. The Lions traded back from 6 to 18, and then traded back up from 18 to 12 to get Jahmyr Gibbs. That's what they did. And then they traded up to get Jack Campbell too. So
which that seems to be a bad move. But again, doesn't matter. That team has had oodles of success because of those moves. So again, I think
but
that
they traded
acquiring
back
elite.
first. Before they took that running back, they
I
traded back
gotcha.
first.
And the Bears traded back to get pick 39 in this year's draft, essentially, right? That's my point here. So if you can take a starting running back at 39, I would love it. Again, let's call it the big 5, like I said. Any of those guys, even if it's Caleb Johnson at 39, I wouldn't necessarily be happy with it. I'd understand it and I'd come to love it. I'm sure I would. But the question kind of in the chat and what I wanted to spearhead this all with, you're thinking, so you said a lot of guys, though. You said, obviously, Cam Scattaboo. You even think that a Bashwell Tutton or any of these other guys still elevate Chicago, their running back room?
Absolutely. There's so many options here that will elevate us. I mean, when you're using that terminology, though, even Ian Wheeler could elevate us, man. I mean, there's things that Ian Wheeler
Yeah,
can do.
I guess using one word here doesn't give the context that I'm trying to portray, right? So, essentially, what running back from outside of the Big 5 do you think could be running back number 1 for the Chicago Bears? Do you think that's Cam Scattaboo?
He would be a committee running back. He's not your breakaway speed guy. He's gonna break through several times. Contact balance. We use that word. He's got the contact balance.
You said 10 touches a game. If that equates to 50%,
To start
that's
the year.
good. Yeah. So again, that could be considered running back 1. You're okay with Cam Scattaboo at running back 1?
Well, if you're looking at a guy that's just going to take 10 touches to start the year, 15, and then maybe work your way up to 20 by the end of the year, and you're splitting time with DeAndre Swift, I'm good with Ashton Genty, Caleb Johnson, Omarion Hampton, Quinshaw Judkins, Travion Henderson, Ollie Gordon, all the way down to Ollie Gordon.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I saw that Ollie Gordon video. So he's on your list here?
He'd be like my 12th. I'm saying all the way down. So I skipped a bunch in between there. We're talking Devin Neal, Bashul Tutton, Cam Scattaboo.
What about like a Raheem Sanders?
RJ Harvey. Raheem Sanders would be right after Ollie Gordon to me, but he's right up there. The reason Raheem Sanders, he just doesn't get the post. I want the guys who can break tackles and get the post yak, but there's so many of those guys. DJ Giddens, Bashul Tutton, Cam Scattaboo, Travion Henderson. Man, who am I? I'm trying to think. RJ Harvey, Damian Martinez. Even breaks tackles. Even way later, I wouldn't go this far. These would be like filling in roles, but like Corey Kiner, Jaquez Hunter.
I haven't heard that name. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Corey Kiner is the Cincinnati one who kind of got overlooked because he had a down year, but his elusiveness grades are off the chart. I mean, he's just an overlooked one that I don't want him as our. I'm not. Yeah. Don't go down the rabbit hole with Adam here.
I've got you. Again, my idea here is to get a clear-cut starting running back 1 that can elevate the offense, take the pressure off of Caleb Williams, and maximize the value that you have with the second highest paid center in the NFL being Drew Dalman, right? But so
it happens every year, though. It happens every year, Carl.
I know.
You look at your top of the draft, and you're saying these guys will be 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't line up that way. And I've said it on Twitter, and people ridicule it. I do not believe Ashton Genty will be a top 3 running back when the end of the year, just because. Let's follow
top 3 running back in the entire NFL out of
rookies. Okay.
Whoa.
Yep. Hold with my logic here, because it happens every year, and this class is so deep. So you're taking 20 running backs that are going to get drafted that have top tier quality, and you're saying you're throwing the dice, and he's going to be the top one. I don't think so. I think there's just as good a chance as some of these other guys having just as good a season. It happens every single year. What's the Tampa Bay running back's name that from last year?
Don't steal my thunder on it, because this is part of the question that I wanted to ask you. His name is Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving, 4th round. You think anybody saw him being the number 1 running back this year?
Now that's the thing here, okay? I want to give Ollie Gordon his spotlight. I know you watched that video, and if you guys for whatever reason have not seen that video, please watch it. Because there's a good friend of the show, Sam, who is just in love with Ollie Gordon. And I hear you in your video. I watched it while I was eating. Didn't skip any advertisements, by the way, like I told you in the comment section. Ollie Gordon was the NCAA leader in 2023 as far as running yards, right?
He was number 7th in Heisman voting last year.
Right. Okay. So my point here is that
Yes, he was
maybe
the top
instead
rushing,
of
he was
getting
the rushing king last year. Yes.
okay, maybe instead of getting an obvious bell cow starting running back, one of the big 5, as I tout them, maybe the Bears can take advantage of having the best running backs coach in the entire NFL, whose name is Eric Bieniemy. Do you think that a guy like Ollie Gordon is maybe, what would you call it, a reclamation project? A guy who the Bears could mold and coach into something special? Is Ollie Gordon one of these guys?
Well, Ollie Gordon has specialness in him, or he wouldn't have had such a special year last year.
I agree.
He had to carry his entire team this year. His offensive line was absolutely terrible. At Oklahoma State, that was the big difference. So the problem is he showed some weaknesses, and anytime you show the weaknesses, you don't want to take a, as you called it, a reclamation project. I don't see Ollie Gordon going in the top 3 rounds. I can see him being an early 4th rounder. That's kind of like a
like a Bucky Irving. That's exactly what I'm trying to hint at here.
A Bucky Irving that he could, but you're not going to bank. You don't bank on that though. You're going to go for, if running back is see the Tampa Bay, their biggest need last year wasn't running back. You've already established you think our biggest need is running back. So you're not going to wait till the 4th round. You're going to hit it earlier. And then some team whose primary need is not running back, who's going to take a running back in the 4th round, is going to get really lucky and hit on a Khalil Mullings from Michigan. They're going to hit on a Ollie Gordon. They're going to hit on a Raheem Sanders, on some of these guys that have really good potential that aren't going to go in the first 3 rounds. There is going to be some, and I wouldn't be upset if the Bears took 2 running backs in this class if we get more draft capital.
Oh, that is spicy and a half from Mr. Adam Mason. Okay, so what's that look like to you? A running back in the 2nd and the 6th? A 2nd and the 4th? What are you looking at as far as 2 running backs?
Well, we still have needs. So my only scenario where I'm okay with that is if we trade back and get more draft capital, and then Ryan pulls, it would be a later pick. So say we trade. Say someone mentioned earlier that Chargers coach,
the king, the
Harbaugh.
undefeated king, Jim Harbaugh.
So someone said Harbaugh wants a tight end, and that's very good logic. So let's say they want to trade up, and we're sitting in the perfect spot at 10 for them. It's still a valuable pick, but it's not without range to trade from 22 to 10. You can still do it. It's going to cost you your 1st and 2nd this year, and probably a 2nd next year. I'm all in favor of that as a Bears fan. Give us another 2nd rounder, trade us down to 22. Some Bears fans won't agree. We still end up picking up, I don't know if we'd get O'Marion Hampton because the teams right before us would probably take running back with the Broncos. And anyways, so I'm diverging, but they take tight end. We pick up a 2nd. And then with that, we trade back again. Say we take 39 and 41. I'm going on a huge tangent here. And we picked up
trade back again. This is not the infinite picks glitch.
No. I'm saying, but this is something Poles has done where he trades value out of things. So he trades from 50 then to 60 and takes a 4th rounder. And we traded twice, got 2 more picks, and we filled all our needs. Then you take another running back. So we took a running back at 39, and then we take a running back in the 4th or 5th round. I would be okay with that.
Sorry, I was spacing out there. So 4th or 5th round, and what else at 22 in a trade down?
I'm saying I know I went on a huge tangent there. I get it. I'll bet everybody in the chat's the same way. They're like, what is this guy talking about with all these weird scenarios? He's out in outer space. This is why Adam gets a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah, capstone that. Trade down with the Chargers, take a running back at 22, and then again in the 5th, 6th?
I'm saying, and then you have that 2nd round pick, and say you trade back from the 2nd round to generate more value. Poles did this his first year. He created trades from picks that is in the 2nd pick in that trade. He traded again for more value. And then you pick up a 4th or 5th rounder, and then you go pick up a Raheem Sanders, or you pick up a whoever's there, Ollie Gordon. I'm good with that. Taking 2 running, I'm good with that in this class. Like if you pick up extra picks, I'm good with that.
As a Michigan fan, if you can get your grubby little hands on Donovan Edwards in like the 6th, 7th, I think that there's some special talent waiting there. I don't like how his 2024 season went. But the guy who I would be, if we were to draft 2 running backs in that scenario, if that second running back that you draft is Jaden Blue, holy smokes, I love Jaden Blue. That would be an incredible pick. That would kick Ian Wheeler to the curb, unfortunately, but that guy, I would love him as our second running back drafted. If we get him in a trade down scenario, 6th, 7th round.
Why don't you think Jaden Blue's getting more love? Kind of interesting. I didn't even mention him here.
Because I think that the public eye sees a stacked, loaded Texas team that had a good offensive line, and maybe Jaden Blue just wasn't good between the tackles or something. I don't know, man.
He did enter the race late. I mean, he kind of declared late for the draft. He waited till after their playoff run.
Right, because that was the whole shtick was, I want to win a national championship with Texas. A lot of those kids thought they could do it, and it didn't happen. So that's another positive, in my opinion, for Jaden Blue, is that he's a team player, and he's a genuine human. I would love Jaden Blue on the Bears. He's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Primary needs first, though. That's just my opinion. Trade down. Man, we just got to get it here, Karl. We're at, 3:15? March 15th. We got a month and 9 days away from the draft. It feels this is going to drag.
Gotta wait till April for the damn draft. That's disheartening. I want it now.
Should I rip one of these packs open, Karl?
I would love that. I'll put you
Just
on the
one?
full. Yeah, I would love that. I'll get you on the full camera. Let's figure it out.
Do one. I said I'm going to do an unboxing tomorrow.
Someone had the comment of me being a tease or foreplay or something. That's what this is for tomorrow. I'm very much excited looking for this. Okay, do me a solid. If you get a good Michigan player, fork that card over my way.
It'll cost you some Ghost Energy drink.
Totally fine by me.
All right, one pack. We're just going to open one pack tonight, and the rest will be for tomorrow.
But
One
I need you to
beautiful
add. I'm going to make you full cam, okay? I need you to add some context. This
Hold on.
product that you are currently opening has the ability to get that Caleb Williams 1 of 1. Yes?
Has the ability to feed my kids through college and weddings. Put that back on. There we go. All right,
Yeah,
so we're looking for that Green Bay Sucks card. It is in circulation. Nobody has found it yet. At least they haven't announced they found it.
Now, hold on. I'm not too educated on this, but I think that when it comes to sports cards, there's something called a first off the line. Is that correct?
Dude, you're talking to someone who doesn't know that much either.
Understood. I digress. Here we go. Full cam, Adam.
Okay. Ready? I'd be happy with
I don't
any
know.
Bears card, to be honest. All right, so here is my Topps Chrome first one. Ooh, I got a numbered card as my second one.
Wow.
First one's Richard Sherman.
No, thank you.
A little bit pretty. Numbered card, autograph card. I don't even have a freaking clue who this is. Of course, that's always the way it goes.
Throw it up.
Numbered card, 199 out of 200. Jabari Small, running back, autographed.
Wow.
They always do that. You always get the autograph card that nobody knows. All right, Theo Johnson, who I liked in last year's draft. Pretty cool looking card.
So did Shorty. Shorty had the measurable comparison to wow, I can't think of the guy from he was on the Bears. He started his career with the Saints. Fantastic tight end.
Legends card. We got a Legends card. We got Troy Aikman.
A lot of Troy Aikman slander these days, by the way.
Ooh, I like this one, but it's not a special card. We got a Cooper DeJean.
That's a lovely card. That's a Super Bowl winner, Adam.
His little brother signed with the UNLV Rebels. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not, but bravo to him. And
be a
Dustin,
Rebel.
thank you.
And then Nate Wiggins. No Bears.
It's a good card, too. It's not a bad player. Isn't he a first-round pick cornerback?
Was Wiggins in the first round? Did he sneak into the first round? I don't remember.
Can't remember. So you just got 6 cards out of that? That's it?
Yeah, there's only 42 in the whole booster. There's 6
But are
cards
they
per
all,
pack,
they're
7 packs.
all like foil?
Ooh, sorry. Topps Chrome.
But they're all foil. They're all
I don't know.
special.
What is? No, they're not all foil.
Shiny?
They're
Thought
not
they
all
were.
shiny. No, there's a couple. The Cooper DeJean and the Nate Wiggins were not.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys from the
there
Adam
were
Mason
3 that
side
were
of
really
things, yeah, I mean, you guys signed card, and like I said, Cooper DeJean's a fantastic. That's a rookie card, obviously. So
Yep.
that's good stuff. Yeah, if you guys from the Adam Mason side of things are unfamiliar, I'm a math major. Simple equation: FGB equals on the screen. Very simple.
So put that Caleb card back up again real quick.
Got it.
That's what we're looking for. So I just opened 6 cards. I got 84 cards because I did 2 boxes. Each box has 42 cards, 7 packs with 6 packs in it. I'm looking for that card right there. That Green Bay Sucks signed by Caleb. I would become a celebrity with that card. I would be famous. Auction it off. Not yet.
First thing you should do, hit up
Super Bowl.
Cassius Marsh.
Hit
You
up
could get
Cassius
some
Marsh.
former Chicago Bears signed. Can you imagine on that lovely wood paneling behind you, that, again, wood paneling that isn't reminiscent of Foster covers? Right there, framed, signed Cassius Marsh jersey with a picture of you and Cassius Marsh shaking hands. That would be beautiful. And a, what was it called, a banker's check? 25 G's?
Oh, I think you auction that thing off. You can. It's not going to happen, but we're going to have fun hoping and believing.
We're pontificating now here on the Thy&Smi podcast here, simulcasting across a couple different channels. But as Shorty would say, we're pontificating. Can you imagine using this beautiful, fantastic platform that you have built by yourself, by the way? Great job. You could potentially get in touch with Caleb Williams.
If you pull that card, you probably would.
Shake his hand, signed jersey. Sky's the freaking limit. And it could be sitting in your possession right now with those 2 boxes. I'm looking forward to the stream tomorrow. We could see some insanity. We could see some freaking insanity.
Go Caleb. Go Caleb. It's fun. We got to find things
awesome
to do before we get to the draft, right? I would think someone's going to pull that card soon.
When do you know when the product came out?
It's been out for a while. When Topps did that, do you remember that commercial with Topps? Did you see that one?
No, I just saw everything on social media, so I saw that essentially the same post of the bounty and everything, and that only felt like a couple weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, so maybe a month ago.
Hold on one second. Topps. I don't think we get in trouble for this commercial because it wasn't on YouTube. I think I showed it once already. So here, pull mine up right here. We'll show this.
Did you start it?
Not yet. Are you ready?
Yeah, it's on the screen. Go for it.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see on my side. So this is the video from Caleb Williams, the Topps commercial. This is where it all stemmed from.
I just started training at the Topps Autograph Lab at the end of last season, and the staff here has been incredible.
Caleb's talent jumps off the card. He's got those 99s and 50s down. He's just not ready for the superfractors yet. Avoid the corners.
I think I'm ready for inscriptions.
No.
There it is.
I like it, but no.
By the way, McMahon is the perfect human for that. That was fantastic. I love that stuff.
Yeah, that was good. If anybody hadn't seen that commercial, that's where it stemmed from. And then after that, Topps put this card is in circulation, and then a collector somewhere put a bounty on it for 25,000.
Yeah.
That's where this whole thing came from. So,
And the card was green, right? I mean, it's right here. That's amazing.
yeah, that's it. It's like the one I just pulled as signature, but it's obviously a much more valuable signature than who was this again? Let's see here. This is Jabari Small.
I think I've got the audio clip on here. Do I have it? Yeah.
What? No super chats?
Levante Rogers with a $2 super chat. I don't even know if it went to Adam or BCP, and I don't think it matters. Thank you, Adam and Karl. Y'all do a great job. FGB. Levante Rogers, God bless you. Thank you so very much for that.
Very cool. So,
Well, Adam, are we getting to the end of the line here? I'm thinking I want to ask you a question, but I don't know how much more time you've got. I don't know if the chat would be interested in a certain something.
are you pulling a BCP and making this thing last 4 hours? Is that what you're doing tonight?
Oh God, no! Let me tell you, I still have a headache from Thursday night going into Friday. For fuck's sake!
I I'm doing too much staying up and watching stupid film on people and doing these little videos,
Oh,
highlight
no.
videos. That
What the?
There we go.
Unfucking believable.
What? No super chats?
Love it.
Y'all should have Iceberg Slim 38 on the show. She says she knows ball, and she's perfect GQ front cover Garson walks with a limp model. Unbelievable. Now, Jay Grizz, I will tell you, that sounds like a perfect guest for the Thursday show on Bears Country Productions. I'll talk to Dan about this. If Iceberg Slim, if you're serious about this, there's the email. Send an email to bearscountrypodcast@gmail.com if you want to be a guest on the Thursday show. Let's make it happen. If we got people paying money for that, let's figure it out. That would be amazing.
All right, Carl. One more question. We're not doing a BCP, but we're running on 2 hours. It's been a lot of fun. I took a nap right before this because I've been staying up so late. Stupid.
Dude, I hear you. I took a nap last night, like an impromptu nap, and then I woke up at 9 p.m. my time and started sending you memes. But anyway, what's the question?
I just need the draft. All right, Cliff Victoria, are you calling us sexist? You're going down Shorty Avenue now.
Unbelievable. Just take it back, Adam. I know it's a joke. It's fine. Let's chill. Well, Cliff. I almost said something bad about Cliff. I'm not saying that. I'm leaving that. I'm leaving that.
Do we need to
Who is
find a
Ghost
woman to come on the show?
I can make that happen right now. Who is Ghost Any? It's Ghost Energy. It's just a joke, unless Adam Mason gets his shit in gear. But
I don't have a sponsor, man. I'm so torn on
not
what
yet.
I'm so torn on what I should do with that.
Morals.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, you said, is there time for one? You said you wanted to ask me one more question.
No, not a question. Let's call it an exercise, one that you're very familiar with. Maybe you did 4-in-1 video earlier today or yesterday.
No, I can't do that.
I don't think we want to go down that route either because there's been so much good draft talk in here. We could do mock drafts ad nauseum. Maybe next time. Maybe on the Thursday show.
So my last question to you, Carl. My last question to you. Your priority. I already said my priority was trade down, small trade down, and take a defensive tackle. Or even if they took a defensive tackle at 10, I'm still happy. What's your priority?
I already answered this.
Mason Graham. Let's say Mason Graham's not there.
Yep. I'm really confident in saying that Kenneth Grant will be available at 10. I'm very confident in saying that.
I think more people need to get on board with the whole Kenny Grant thing, but the Bears didn't interview him at the Combine, so I don't like that. I don't like that they didn't interview him at the Combine.
Yeah, well, again, maybe you talk to Mason Graham. Mason Graham, I don't know if they did or not. I feel like they did. I think, actually, not
Positive
Connor,
they
but
did.
the other guy from CHGO.
I can.
Greg Braggs. Greg Braggs, I think, verified that the Chicago Bears spoke to Mason Graham.
No, I'm positive they did. Here, let me pull this up for you real quick. We're going to do this quickly. We're not going to drag
Adam's
it out.
got the meat and potatoes for the podcast.
While I was down at spring training, I was all over tracking this thing.
So John asks me what you think of Alfred Collins, and I know, Adam, you released another video on Alfred Collins. This was in my chat, I believe, so the question's directed to me. I don't know much about him, but I do feel like he's a good run defender, as the interior defensive lineman. So, again, definitely not a player I'm comfortable at 10. Adam, you can enlighten me. Is Alfred Collins a guy who's available or could be available at 39 or 41?
Yeah, he should be. You can pull up what I just put up there, Carl. This is what I was tracking at spring training.
Jason Lee, I feel like there's a Michigan bias involved here. You are fucking right. Good job, Jason.
I'm not Michigan biased. Anyways, pull that up, Carl.
Carl.
So there's our visits from the Combine top 60. Now we don't hear about all of them, but you see the very first name on top there, Mason Graham. We did interview Mason Graham. Alfred Collins was there. Alfred Collins is the epitome of someone who will not get penetration at all. He will not collapse the pocket, but he will not let a single runner get past him. He sheds blocks. He sheds double teams better than anybody else. And Alfred Collins will be a beast in the run. I think it was Walter Nolan was #1 run defense grade out of all defensive tackles. Mason Graham was #2. And then it was Alfred Collins, not far behind him, but his pressure is so weak that that's his downfall. He doesn't penetrate the pocket like Walter Nolan and Mason Graham. But he's definitely a good run stopping option when we have issues in the run game for sure. So
Let me tell you something, Adam, that makes me very, very nervous and very upset. And I think that this could be the doomsday scenario for the Bears in the draft. I see Shamar Stewart on this list. If the Bears draft Shamar Stewart at 10, dude.
You have to trust Dennis Allen. You have to trust the vision, and they'll pull a Dio and Dingbo out of him, and they'll turn him into a good pressure, and then it will create Montez Sweat and Jervon Dexter getting all the sacks. That's what you have to put the trust
And I'm not one of my favorite words on Twitter is the letter M, and it's not Michigan. It's a bad word, and I admit that. But I am not one of those people who would think that your quality and your worth in the NFL as a defensive player comes from sacks, right? I get that you can have a really good, amazing season without getting sacks. We kind of saw it with Khalil Mack, not to be rude to him. But if you can affect a quarterback and get a hurry, a pressure, that's extremely valuable, and one might argue it's more valuable than a sack. So I see it. But Shamar Stewart, I just think that there's something wrong. And I think this is what it was, Adam. I don't think that the Bears are in a position where they can gamble with guys with character issues or project cards like that. Not until we have a quarterback and head coach pairing that has won a playoff game. Then we can act like the Philadelphia Eagles and select players like Shamar Stewart.
Well, Shamar Stewart didn't get pressure either. That's the problem. But his size is something to behold. So
he is an athletic freak in every sense of that term, and I admit that. But at 10th overall, God, please no.
Yeah, his pressure was pretty bad. His tackling also, I think his tackling out of all those that are projected in day 1 or 2 was the very worst grade out of all of them. And he's a first-round prospect. So out of first, second, third-round prospects, he was the lowest tackling grade. So I'm with you. I don't like it. I wouldn't like it if it happened. I will be upset. But at that point, same thing as if Ashton Genty got drafted. I just have to put my trust in him that they have a vision, bite my tongue, suck down my pride, and say, okay, Bears, I'm with you. I will now support this player, but I'm not in love with it.
Jason Lee with an all-timer. Imagine Shamar Stewart went to Michigan. Well, he's part of the Big Four at that point, Jason. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. No, let's be honest. I mean, I do see Shamar Stewart potentially being a top 10 pick. And that could be a situation that helps Mason Graham reach the Bears, and I'm all for that. But full stop, I don't want Shamar Stewart at 10. I mocked him to the Bears at 39. That would be incredible. I just don't think there's a chance that happens.
I have to ask with this Michigan talk, even though he's very undersized, are you kind of hoping we don't take an edge in the first couple rounds so that we have Josiah Stewart there in the third round?
Now, I initially thought that Josiah Stewart would be reserved to a 3-4 outside linebacker. Let me tell you, Josiah Stewart in 2024 for Michigan was so clutch, so good. Was that because he was playing with top 10 picks in the interior? Maybe. But Josiah Stewart's a baller. I just don't know if he's a fit for the Chicago Bears with Dennis Allen. But if he makes his way into the Bears, I'm buying his jersey.
He's not just light either. He's short. He's only like 6'1", I think. So he's
clutch. Imagine Josiah Stewart to replace Josh Sweat on the Eagles. That's a player who's going to have a field day and feast.
Yeah, he'll fit somewhere. I don't think he fits the Bears.
I agree with you, and I'm the Michigan fan. Adam, I know we talked about the time. We're at 2 hours. I didn't anticipate the show going this long.
Hey, it's been a good time.
I think you got your wish. Yeah, it absolutely has, Adam. I think you got your wish, by the way. Fantastic stuff.
Good job, guys. Hey, good job. 519 subs for Karl. He deserves that and more. Karl's on his way. He's doing a great job. Where did your sub count land when a couple months ago, Karl? Where were you? I've
got remnants on my Twitter. I'll see if I can pick it up. I have kind of an ongoing thread. I feel like this channel has been at the 300s last month.
Nice. It's growing. Yeah. Help Karl continue to grow, guys. He's doing good.
Yeah. Again, I would talk to Adam offline if he asked me to. I just enjoy the conversations. But Adam, you've been a huge asset to this channel as far as the numbers and just having content. I appreciate the hell out of it. To you, Karl, Adam, thank you so very much.
I couldn't have picked someone better. You and I, when we talked about doing this 11-part series, and now we're doing a few extra things here with your channel and some other stuff with BCP, and I couldn't have picked someone I respect and appreciate more. Karl, I appreciate where you are, where you're coming from. I've had a lot of fun with you. We're halfway there. We're almost to the draft. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for supporting Karl. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting Bears community more than anything. We're all in the same boat here. We're having a lot of fun. We're getting to the draft. I think every one of us just wants to fast forward the next 5 freaking weeks and get there. But here we are. So the question for me would be, what if Genty went to UNLV? You've seen how I love, but I don't overhype players that shouldn't be overhyped, because Jackson Woodard and Ricky White, you guys saw me hype it, and then you guys are kind of like, oh, it's just because they went to UNLV. And now all of a sudden, where are they doing? They're climbing draft boards, because I am realistic and I say these guys are both freaking awesome. If Ashton Genty went to UNLV, we probably would have made a deep run into the college football playoffs, because we were a way more stacked team than Boise State.
UNLV played Michigan tough this year.
Well,
Guys,
UNLV played Boise State tough. The only, oh man, that would be tough. If I still wouldn't want to, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I still wouldn't want a running back at 10, but I would love for the Bears to trade back from 10 to 18 and have some miracle happen and have Genty fall to 18 and still pick up other picks. So.
Ashton Genty, I don't know the history of UNLV. Ashton Genty would have been a historically good, downright legendary player for UNLV, in my opinion. Imagine having, in that scenario, that player then be on the Bears, having his jersey. You would love that.
If we draft Jackson Woodard or Ricky White, I'm gonna be the most annoying fan.
Is ever. Jackson Woodard the linebacker who you said was just like statistics, just the leader in everything?
Well, he won Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. He had 4 picks. He had 10 pass breakups. He had like over 80 tackles. He's just a beast, and he's equally good at everything. And if you watch highlights, if you want to see someone go toe-to-toe with Ashton Genty, when he is one-on-one, now obviously Ashton Genty beat UNLV both times, but when Ashton Genty, in fact, let me pull this up, Karl. I know we're done.
While you do that, I'm going to pull this up just to kind of hit home what Adam Mason and the Masonites have done for this channel, because, again, this is January 12th. I'm sitting at 200. So you guys are fantastic. Again, I appreciate your time more than anything, your contributions to the chat. It makes the show, as fun and as lively as it is. But the numbers, too, are fantastic. You guys, thank you so very much.
Hold on. I got to pull this up here. He's just intelligent, man. He's going to fit some team really, really well.
Well, all I wanted to say on that was that I think that Jackson Woodard could be the literal perfect replacement for Jack Sanborn.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to share this. Let's go here. Where is it? Boom. Okay, there. Sorry, I do boomps a lot. It's annoying, but I do it. Present. Share screen. Jackson Woodard. Okay, just look at this. This is at the combine, and he's breaking down this play against Ashton Genty.
Yeah, we're running cover 3. We're dropping weak.
Is it up?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. Play it.
We're dropping weak, which is just rolling the safety down weak. We know Ashton Genty's going to get the ball on most plays. They love this stretch play, especially with him. You can call it really a zone, just inside zone, but they use it more as a stretch. I see the blocker coming to me. He's thinking I'm going to flow over, which is technically would be the right path to take, but I see that he's taking way too high of an angle. So I just rip under him, see Genty in the hole, and go smoke him in the hole.
How hard is it to tackle a guy like Ashton Genty?
Extremely hard. Yeah, he's a really good player.
I guess when you sort of go against the typical run fit but still make the play, is that a plus and a negative at the same time to the coaches?
No, that's a plus. So here you go.
So he's number 7 right there in the middle.
I'm just obviously
middle
see
linebacker.
by my alignment, I'm thinking
Gotcha.
Blocker's coming. So I could go fill that A gap if I really wanted to, but I'm going to dip and rip underneath. I see the
Dip
hole.
and rip. Love it.
My lineman's doing a
Just
great
made
job
him
of
miss.
getting penetration.
He got hit there, and he still
Backside
keeps his
lineman gets a
balance.
little push on me, gather my feet, shoot him.
Boom.
Should we do one more poll? Who has better contact balance, Ashton Genty or Jackson Woodard? How would you like that?
It would be Ashton Genty. And this is not taking away from Ashton Genty because it took me off. It's not taking away from Ashton Genty because Ashton Genty is a great running back. As much as I don't want us to take him at 10, I think he gets misconstrued sometime. I'm not saying he's terrible. I just don't think the odds of him being the clear-cut number 1 are there, and you don't take that gamble at 10. But that was more about Jackson Woodard, his intelligence. But same thing, being from a small school, he's going to get overlooked by some. But he's. Should I pull up the PFF on him?
If that's how you want to end this thing, I mean, by all means,
we're
strut your
overtime
shit.
already.
We talked about Michigan ad nauseum today. We can talk about some UNLV kids. But yeah, I mean, I do think that I wouldn't call linebacker a need on the Chicago Bears because they filled that with that Bozeman guy from the Chiefs. And
Well,
I
that's more
genuinely think,
specific.
I genuinely think that Swayze Bozeman's going to be your Jack Sanborn replacement, linebacker 3, right? It just makes too much sense to me. But I
Well,
do think that's in a roundabout way a need.
Pull up that needs or pull up the visits chart. We were visiting with linebackers. I think we're taking a linebacker. We got to have some options there to replace Tremaine Edmonds if this doesn't work out.
So help me out here. Obviously, we talked about Carson S. I can't pronounce that last name. Oh, I see.
Schlesinger.
Another UCLA kid. Is that literally a linebacker and not a rusher?
Yeah,
Kane?
there's a connection
Medrano?
there with the coach of UCLA, and I think that's why there's always connections. And
Whoa. It was Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy got fired from UCLA.
That's right. That's where the connection is. Eric Bieniemy and the.
So there's
coach
only
there.
2 linebackers, and they're both from
Yeah, but I think they did meet with somebody else as well, but it just wasn't.
Carson S. was their team captain and their everything on defense, wasn't he?
He's the best player for them for sure.
Yeah.
Let me go here. All right, so here's Jackson Woodard. Pull that up. Tell me when you're up because I'm not on that screen.
Hold on a second. You're up.
Okay, so here's Jackson Woodard, 6'3", 230, and positives here throughout. Here's the game against Boise State, 91.4 run defensive grade, and that's against Ashton Genty. So this is what I'm talking about when you say go watch tape on Jackson Woodard. One-on-one. Now, Ashton Genty still played very well, but one-on-one, the two of them, like he owned Ashton Genty on every single play of that game, on that first game. Now, Ashton Genty on the second one.
Was that the game at home in like the primetime game?
That was at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play.
That was such an enjoyable football game. I watched the entirety of that game. It was so enjoyable.
But overall here as a linebacker, now he started at Arkansas, transferred to UNLV because he just wasn't getting playing time, and then he really excelled there. He's Mountain West Player of the Year. But total, he had 4 sacks, 18 total pressures, 20 pressures for the 2 years each year. Stops, that's a huge number for stops who don't track all this stuff.
Adam, Create Culture's asking if you guys like Landon Jackson. I'm not poking the bear on that one. We obviously love Landon Jackson.
I like Landon Jackson a lot. Both years here, look at this. This is, they count both of these for total tackles, 104 total tackles there. And then you look over here, he had 4 interceptions this year and 8 pass breakups. So, I mean, he's just, he's really just a
and obviously the kid plays middle linebacker.
Yeah, he's middle linebacker, but I mean, it's just, he's a very similar play style to Jack Sanborn, but he moves better. He moves more fluid and he gets up in the hole. Jack Sanborn's biggest weakness was the run game. Like if Jack Sanborn had to come hit a hole, he wouldn't hit a hole the same way. Jackson Woodard, he has a way of almost juking guys or overpowering them. I really like Jackson Woodard a lot.
We just watched the clip of the dip and rip, man. I know. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong here.
Yeah, you can take that off now, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Jackson Woodard. He's going to go somewhere in the 4th, 5th round. And I just don't see. I don't see the Bears having a priority on him, but it would be fun if he.
But if he falls to the 6th,
boom, get him, Bears, get him. Yeah, I like Kaiser from Notre Dame as well. I do. I like Kaiser a lot. James Horner just put his name out there. I like Kaiser a lot as well.
Yeah, I think with the lively chat, there's still hundreds of people watching. I mean, I think that you could have Adam Mason. You could pick his brain all day with these guys. I'm going to be noble enough to pull the plug on this. I wasn't smart enough and able enough to be able to do it on Thursday. We're not going till 11, Adam. It's not happening.
You're good.
Any closing thoughts from yourself, sir? Absolutely, it's been a blast. Any closing thoughts?
Thank you guys for supporting us, for having fun with us, hanging out with us, talking Bears football, talking prospects, talking through the process of what happens. None of us know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen come draft night. But that's what the fun is articulating, trying to put thoughts to paper, trying to get the stats and analysis out, going over players like this. So it's fun. I appreciate you guys supporting Carl's channel and supporting Karl, supporting us together on our weekly thing that we're doing for an 11-week series. I appreciate you guys being a part of every piece of this. You've grown my channel to over 10 freaking thousand now. 10,000.
Do you know how I like to dissect that and approach that, Adam? It's what, 10,600, 10,700?
Yeah, it's over 600.
And imagine standing on a podium in front of that amount of people. Isn't that intimidating? That's a lot of fucking people. Even for me, 520 people.
Too. That's why you guys keep me up till 2 or 3 in the morning doing research, is because it's a lot of responsibility to try to bring you stuff that other places aren't showing, and it's making me lose sleep. But I do appreciate you guys, though. Thoughts on Nick Amanwari? I've been high on him before anybody else was high on him. Jason Lee, I was on the Nick Amanwari train. I called him a top 10 prospect, and people.
And that's the cool thing about doing this, Adam, is that you've got that documented in live time.
Yeah, we're having fun, having a good time.
Absolutely. Adam, like I said,
I
would do this with you. I would do this with you offline if you wanted to. Thank you so very much. Chat, everyone from the Masonites, all around the channels, the 3 channels again, Thy&Smi, Bears Country Productions, Adam Mason. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you so very much. Next time you'll see us both together is probably going to be the Thursday show. We are the Bears Country Podcast fluffers, if you will, Adam. We go live before them. But yeah,
I love it.
It'll be a good time. Looking forward to it. Who knows? Bears might make another sign, another trade. Something might happen the way that things have been going, right?
I doubt it. If I'm a betting man, I say it's not going to happen.
Well, put it all on red. We're trading up. We're trading for first overall to get Mason Graham.
No way.
Guys, I'm going to end the stream. You're going to see the intro, essentially. It's going to feel awkward. We're introducing Adam Mason as the outro. It's going to be weird. But again, new upgraded intro for Adam. If you want to use it, great. If you don't, that's fine by me as well. But we're helping you level up. It's a community event. If I could say anything from the entire live show, it's this. The Bears community is better as a community, not with the bickering, the wars, the Civil War, all the stupid shit. It's a community at the end of the day, and we all have similar goals. Samo said it fantastic. By the way, you guys streamed for like 30 minutes after I left on Thursday, right?
Yeah, we had a good time.
Right, and that was live on my channel. I wasn't even there. It was hilarious. So I need to go back and watch that, make sure you guys didn't. Yeah, I got to make sure I, trust you guys. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It was good.
But again, you guys are fantastic. I am pulling the plug. Again, until next time, everyone, bear down.